Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of the live stream. This is the live flood at this point. I didn't even realize that this special with the president doing his town hall on ABC 2020. Last year was it ABC 2019? I don't remember. It's 90 minutes long. I haven't watched it because I can only get the West Coast feed. I tried jerry-rigging it. It didn't work. So I have seen a highlight, and the highlight is who says that wearing masks is a bad thing? And Trump explains, well, waiters. I have that. Here it is. Let's see. Wait. Come on, do it. Why won't it do it? Did it not take it? Hold on. So this is not going to be your typical live stream. This is going to be we're going to be slogging through this. No, it didn't take it. So what I want to do with this is it didn't update it. It updated the number of dead, but it didn't update what I put there. Hold on. I'm going to start this processing. This is going to be boring for you guys. This whole thing's going to be boring for you guys. Welcome, by the way. I'm Kevin Lee Williams. I'm Kevin Lee Williams, your Kevin father, and this is what we do. We fact check, or we fat check, because the president. I'm getting fat tonight. I have some truffle flavored. I don't even know what, some kind of chips. I have some bitchin' sauce from Costco. That's good stuff, and it's vegan, and it's gluten free. I can eat anything except shellfish, but for Kevin Lee daughter, that's good stuff. So this is going to be a slower pace than we normally go. I know we normally go breakneck. Give me a second here. But I'm going to be gathering facts because I think what I want to do, and I probably won't, is put together a look at this, a fact check. I don't know if the president's going to do another one like this, another town hall, because this has been abysmal for him. I saw about 3 different highlights, and every one of them was bang, 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 lie, inaccuracies, misrepresentation, lie. So I'm gonna try. I've got a chart over here that I'm gonna try and keep track of. I'll be writing stuff down. I'll be pausing a lot. I want your guys' input. If you guys see a lie that I miss, let me know, and we'll have at it. So we'll make this a team effort. Give me a moment, please. All right, does that take it? Yep, got it. And let's export that. So I'm going to be putting this together, and then I'll edit something together, hopefully, over the next couple of days. I've got a couple auditions I have to do, but I'll see what I can do to make that all happen. Okay. So that I will let process, and we'll get right to it. So for whatever reason, the system didn't let me record locally, so I caught this at about 4 minutes. So I don't have the first 4 minutes, but I'll be able to get that by tomorrow and put that together. Poor Daniel Dale. He must have been reviewing this because this happened. He could watch it at 6 o'clock, which is 9 o'clock his time. Hopefully he's in bed by now. But oh my God, yeah. I've seen probably a total of 5 minutes. And probably 20 to 30 lies in that time. Hey Rich, hey Phyllis, hey Chuck, good to see you. Hey Marcy, hey everybody else above that I can't see. Someone was asking about this morning's broadcast. For some reason, this morning's broadcast is yesterday afternoon's broadcast on Twitter, so I don't know. You know how that can be fixed? If you're looking for this morning's broadcast, let me see if it went to... let's see. Did it record on the Twitters? Yeah. So this morning, if you're looking to watch this morning's, just watch it on Twitter. Just go to my profile page at Kevin Lee Father and go down from there. So, yeah, Stephanie, if you can't moderate and watch at the same time, don't moderate. We'll figure it out. And if somebody's comment doesn't get through, oh well. Just don't fucking swear. Problem solved. Okay, yeah, Rich is West Coast. He's just over there. But too far to bring me a double animal style. Actually, so when I used to live right near here, where I am now, this story, no one cares. Okay, moving on. We got a lot to get to. I'm hoping to plod through this tonight. I might tire out at some point because, oh my God. Yeah, if you want to swear, go to Twitch. Go find me on Twitch. I think I'm the real Kevin Lee Father on Twitch or something like that. Lizzie can help you find me. Let me pull up the YouTube feed so I can see where you guys is at. Okay, let me go back to a dashboard here. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff on my left screen because I've got to sort of catalog all of this so that I can pair it and then edit it together and make it look fancy. I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff on my left screen. There's going to be an echo from time to time just because of the way I'm doing things here. I should have it in my ear now. Let me check. Yeah, we're good. You guys can hear it. Hopefully I can hear it. Let me know if the volume isn't working for it. There you guys are. Okay, I will let you guys have your fun with this. We'll see how many trolls we get tonight. This afternoon we got hardly anybody. This morning I think we had quite a few. They make it fun for me. They really do. What I'd like to do, what I would really like to do is just have the time to put this together, put it up on the YouTube, and somehow, you know, you can't just make things go viral, but somehow have something for folks who are undecided. Those 8 people who make up their minds because of yard signs on the way to the election booths, those are the people who decide the election. I would like to have a source saying, hey, here's what I did. The president was interviewed for 90 minutes. It's about 60 minutes worth of actual content. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I didn't vote for Hillary. I did vote for Bush one time. I vote by the year, by the issue, what I think is important. I just don't like being lied to. So this is what we do. And then I can just have this put together in very nice little news nuggets for people. It'll probably be 18 hours long. But just, it's so easy to disprove everything that he says. I'd like to put that together and put it up on the YouTube and see what happens with it. And the Facebook. So there's a Facebook group called, I'll talk about that later. Let's get going with this. I got so much to say tonight. I really do.
Everybody got a ventilator, and they're very, Paul, they're very complex, they're very hard to make, but we're making out tens of thousands a month and sending them to other countries who are in dire need of them. So I feel that we've done a tremendous job, actually, and it's something that I don't think it's been recognized like it should. But when you look at our testing, when you look at our swabs, when you look at our ventilators, when you look at what we've done with hospitals, and we've made a lot of governors look very good, and now some are in a shutdown and some aren't. We'd like to see it open up and open up as soon as possible. But we're very proud of the job we've done, and we've saved a lot of lives, a tremendous number of lives.
Mr. President, you mentioned...
We've lost 200,000 lives. You see the number there? 200,197 American lives lost, according to World Meters, which is usually the metrics I use. Johns Hopkins is probably behind that. I can get you that number right now. Johns Hopkins tells us that we are at 195,915, so almost 196,000 according to Johns Hopkins. We'll get there. We'll get there in the next 3 days. Yeah, and I'll be putting it up on Facebook too. In fact, I'm trying to get into a big Facebook group. Actually, they're Friends of Randy Rainbow. I'm in the group. I just friended the administrator for it, and she accepted my friendship, so I'm going to talk to her and say, look, this is what I do. It would be great if we were broadcast in that group, which has, I don't know, 50,000 members or whatever it is, because that would give us a whole influx of people. You people will always be my favorites, though. Just how, like, your first kid is so much more favoritist than the second kid you have. Parents, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, hey, honey. No, we adopted you. because we wanted you so much. Yes, you didn't know that. Okay. She's not here. So just to give you an idea of what was going on during that time, I did 4 fact checks in just what we've watched so far. We started at 4:17. We are now at 4:50. I'll tell you, we're at 5:01. So in 32 seconds, there were 4 misrepresentation. Some people would call them lies by Mr. Trump. Let's move on.
A number of things. So let's talk about the mortality first, because you said we're doing.
Voiceover auditions were fine. I ordered some more foam. We can't. We'll do like spilling covfefe. The next time I do spilling covfefe, if you want personal stories and stuff like that, we'll do that another time. This is look where we are. This is where we are. Okay, see my mouse right there? That's where we are. This is where we have to get to. Over here. In fact, the broadcast isn't even there yet. So shut the fact up, Rich. Here we go.
Better immortality than other countries. But here's this chart.
Hold on. Okay. Producer Joanna, go to sleep. Don't stay up for this. This is going to be long and slogging. This is going to be hard work. You go to sleep. Go have fun tomorrow, waking up early. And I'll be putting this together at some point so that it's much more succinct than what we're doing right now. But again, I wonder how. I wish. Hi, Peter Swan. I wish that there was a way. I know in YouTube you can have super chat and like things get highlighted, but I don't want you guys to have to pay anything. Just trying to think if we do make it big at some point and we have 25,000 people in here at one time or whatever. If we do, we don't know what's going to happen. If we do, I kind of want to have a side chat with you guys, like the original Kevin Lee family. They'll be my second family. And everybody knows you don't, like, if you get married the first time and then you get married again, you don't love that second person. Come on, let's be honest. No one's ever going to marry me again. I mean, even before I said that, really. I'm way too giggly tonight to even do this. I will never abandon you any more than Trump has ever let anyone down. We'll work something out. We've got secrets. Let's move on.
Right here, it shows the United States is right here. This is number of deaths per million residents. Here's Western Europe here, Canada, way down there. We're not at the top of the list.
The excess more.
Great job on the graphics, ABC. Jesus fuck. Really? You can't show us what George has in his hands? I think we're done here. Good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Really? A piece of paper, and the people in the room are like in the control booth are like, do we have a shot of it? Can we reverse? Can we go to the other side? Really, George? God, I hope they show it to us coming up here. Because everyone who's watching this is like, what's it say? I know what he's got there. He's got the Our World and Data chart, and I've shown it to you 100 times. And he just brought Canada, because Canada's way better than we are in every way, really, when it comes right down to it. So.
About the mortality first, because you said we're doing better in mortality than other countries. But here's this chart right here. It shows the United States is right here. This is number of deaths per million residents.
Does it really?
Western Europe here, Canada, way down there.
That sure looks like an Our World and Data chart. I can't see a logo.
We're not at the top of the list.
The excess
Joanne, if you drink this late, you're not going to be able to get to sleep. Stop drinking.
mortality rate is among the best in the whole world, George. I mean, I can show you.
Our mortality rate is not amongst the best in the whole world by any matrix.
A chart that just came out a little while ago. Excess mortality rate is compared to Europe, compared to other places, it's about 25% better. In one case, it's over 60% better.
I figured this out with the help of FatCheck.org and a couple of other sources as well. First off, I couldn't find a chart. There's no chart of this. This is something his people put together to make him look good. Okay, so if you take the excess deaths in the United States, which is, according to the CDC, anywhere between 183 and 220,000. This is from a couple of weeks ago. This is back because we don't know the excess deaths. Even for the August ones may have just come out, but let's just go back to the figures that I could find through June 21st. And the CDC is publishing these. The trouble is, it's hard to compare to Europe because what is Europe? Is it the continent? Is it the European Union? Anyway, but here's what they're doing. Here are the excess deaths in the United States. Let's just take the date that we're using here, which is the end of the week of June 21st. 183,000 excess deaths in the United States on the low end. Europe, 242,000 deaths. So 183, 242. Now that's a 32% higher total, right? Oh my God! Wow, Trump's right. 32% higher. Here's the problem. The United States has 330 to 350 million people. Europe, the continent, has 700 million people. More than that. 707. Hold on. What's the population of Europe? Europe, 741 million people. So suddenly, 183 if you do it per capita, which Trump doesn't understand. Suddenly, Europe is way better than we. Oh, hold on. Hold on. What if he's just referring to the European Union? Well, then he should say European Union, but he doesn't because that's the way he is. European Union, population, 446 million. And now the United States has 32% more deaths. This is how they do it. You can't just, okay, you know what? We're going to pick and choose countries. If you compare the United States deaths, excess deaths, to all the other deaths in the rest of the world, seeing as here how we're 5% of the population, then yes, they're gonna, we're gonna be up. Oh man, how many people have died on the planet because of coronavirus? 939,000. So yeah, that's 450% more deaths than the rest of the world than right here, which is ridiculous. Joanna, why aren't you asleep? Did you all see the New England Journal of Medicine report that mask holes are gonna get sick, and we mask wearers are all gaining immunity? Oh, mask holes. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I thought we were actually talking about the little holes, the masks with the holes, Joanna. Yeah, so that's, anyway, it's a lie. It's so disingenuous. It's so misleading when you don't give the entirety of the mathematical equation, when you don't put it in the correct context. It's a lie. So, I'm going to mark that down. So in one case, 60%, yeah, there might be a country out there that got hammered, like Italy, where their excess deaths, if they're keeping count of their excess deaths, and maybe they have an older population, like Italy. So yeah, if you took Italy and you looked at their excess deaths compared to our excess death, then maybe they're 60% higher. But again, you can't trust anything that he says.
And we also have a very big country. You know, we're talking about a lot bigger than most countries. When you look at testing, just as an example, when India does 40 million less tests than us, they have 1.5 billion people. China, you don't get the accurate numbers out of China, but China, they lost a lot of people. They just don't say what.
You know, we have 4% of the world's population, more than 20%.
India's done about 37 million fewer tests, but that's fine.
Of the cases, more than 20% of the deaths.
Well, we have 20% of the cases.
Don't even say cases. Don't say cases to Trump. Say deaths.
Because
and when you say deaths, he's going to say cases. Say deaths. I'm talking about the deaths. These are lives we will never get back, sir.
The fact that we do much more testing. If we wouldn't do testing, you wouldn't have cases. You would have very few cases.
As you know, Dr. Fauci says these are actual cases.
Well, Dr. Fauci said we've done a fantastic job. He just said it yesterday, actually. He said we've done a fantastic job, that we...
It just goes on to something else, which, by the way, Dr. Fauci did not say we've done a fantastic job. Nor did he say that Trump never misled anybody. He said that he may have misled, but that Dr. Fauci didn't see it. Dr. Fauci is extremely diplomatic. He doesn't have time to watch everything that Trump says.
Didn't mislead anybody. Now, I'm not going to make people feel like I want to look. We're the leader of a great country. We want to keep it that way. I don't want to scare people. I don't want to make
We? Who's we? We're the leader of a great country?
people panic. And you're not going to go out and say, oh, this is death, death, death. You have to run a country. We're in a country. We got hit by something very unfairly. What I noticed were yesterday, Dr. Fauci said that we've done a really good job and we didn't mislead anybody. He came out with that statement, which I appreciate. But whether
No, he did not. Well, I don't know. I don't know everything that Dr. Fauci said yesterday, and this wasn't yesterday when he was on Fox News, but I'm going to leave that for now because Fauci might have said something yesterday.
whether it's Dr. Fauci or anybody else, a lot of people got it wrong. They talked about don't wear masks, and now they say wear masks. Although some people say don't wear masks. I mean, you have a lot of different ideas. Some people say just leave it the way it is and don't do any shutdowns, and other people say do shutdowns. And I have my own views on that.
But what did you get wrong? You say a lot of people got things wrong. I mean, you mentioned China at the top right there. All through January and February, you were downplaying, by your own admission, the severity of the crisis, that you didn't want to panic people.
Not downplaying.
But let me just finish the question first.
Not downplaying.
Well, you said those are
I don't want to drive our nation into a panic. I'm a cheerleader for this nation. I'm the one that closed up our country.
He's a yell leader. Males are yell leaders. I was one.
I closed it up long before any of the experts thought I should.
Not true. The experts told him to close it up, and he didn't.
And saved hundreds of thousands of lives. But when
There's no evidence mathematically that he saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Many, many, many countries did not limit travel from China at all, and they do not have anywhere near the excess mortality that we have.
closed it, I put a ban on our country, and the ban was...
We did not ban our country. We are our country. We banned foreign nationals who had visited Wuhan in the last 2 weeks. That's what we banned. We did not ban our country.
a very important ban because
I wanted to ask
China
you,
was
I
heavily...
want to ask you about
China was heavily
I just
infected.
remember, who was it? Jonathan Rose? Jonathan Swan. I knew it had 4 letters. Jonathan Swan. He goes, what? We need more people like Jonathan Swan to say, you just said we banned our country. What does that even mean? Just point out the idiocy. If you were just on a bus having a conversation, or even better, we've all been to dinner parties. Okay, for those of you who don't remember, dinner parties are when you would go to someone's house and they would let you inside. Some of you aren't old enough to remember when they would let you inside and they would share a meal with you. Like, not a to-go, but and you would pass things to each other. It was crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But everyone's had to sit next to somebody who's a fucking idiot like this moron, who just says things and doesn't even realize the verbal kitty litter that's spewing from their mouth. And you just, and this is why I'm no good at parties, because I will question those people. And then the person I'm with is just drop it, don't, Kevin, just drop, or give me that look right there. Well, I mean, honey, I'm not going to let your boss get away with that sort of a... Yes, he voted for Trump, but he's not like that. Hey, Kevinly brother, good to see ya. Kevinly brother, everybody, how you feeling, David? Let's go back. What are we in? We're like 2 minutes in now.
And nobody, by the way, I read where other people said do it. No people that I saw said do it, and I know they said security advisors and others. I put a ban on when it wasn't at all.
No. I have the video of Dr. Fauci, which, by the way, I'll play that video for you. He keeps saying that nobody, it was all his idea to ban China, which we know isn't true. But it's been a revelation. I think I mentioned this in one of the earlier live streams. I was going to call this a podcast. But here's the thing. He has mentioned before that it was all his idea. And in the book now, in Rage, Bob Woodward reveals that, no, this was Fauci and the medical team that came to him and said, you should do this. And there was some resistance in the room, and Trump acquiesced, and had the China travel ban. And everyone, oh, wow, it's Maggie Haberman was retweeting it. And several news organizations were retweeting this saying, wow, look at this revelation. It's like, no, I've known that for months now. So if you've been watching the live stream, you've been informed. Here's Fauci explaining that they came to the president with all of the travel bans.
You do. Is that the travel restrictions?
No, the travel restriction is separate. That was whether or not we wanted to go into a mitigation stage of 15 days of mitigation. The travel.
And again, that was the scientists coming for the mitigation, the 15 days to slow the spread. That was the scientists coming to Trump.
Was another recommendation when we went in and said we probably should be doing that, and the answer was yes. And then another time was we should do it with Europe, and the answer was yes. And the next.
We went in to see him, and the answer was yes. And we said we probably should be doing, and the answer was yes.
We should do it with the UK, and the answer was yes.
In this interview, you.
Yeah, so every time it's been the doctors coming to Trump and saying, hey, can we do this? We ought to be doing this. And the answer was yes. Trump agreed. But now Trump is like, nobody, even my own. Oh, I've heard other people say that he's insane. We have the videotape.
Popular. Joe Biden said I was xenophobic because I put the ban on.
Nope. Joe Biden said he was hold on. Oh, I got to do this. Fauci. I'm making a list of all the stuff I've got to prepare in order to edit the video together. What did he just say? Oh, xenophobic. Fauci didn't say the travel ban was xenophobic. He's never been against travel bans. Fauci said that the travel ban, or calling it the China virus. In fact, while the announcement was being made, Joe Biden was on stage in New Hampshire saying that he was being xenophobic. He wasn't watching TV. He wasn't watching the broadcast of the virus or the travel ban being announced.
And I thought that was a very unfair. And by the way, he's totally taken that back. But I'm not sure he knows what it means.
I want to ask you about China.
He has not taken back calling Trump xenophobic, and Trump has repeatedly said that Joe Biden doesn't know what xenophobic means because he didn't know what it meant back in 2016. Here's Trump reading from a teleprompter and getting xenophobic wrong.
She called these Americans every name in the book: racist, sexist, xenophobic, Islamophobic.
Apologize if you've seen that clip before 8 times. That's one of my favorites. But I know there's people in the room who haven't seen it before, so I wanted to show them. But it's the extra little snide. Like, he does not miss an opportunity to attack. He's not a shark. He's those little sucker fish. What are they called? Remores? Remores? What are they? What are the shark fish called? I hate sharks. I'm so afraid of sharks. That's right. He's a predator, but he's not a T-Rex. He's just, he's a T-Rex who like stands back and like, no, you guys take this one. No, take down the raptor. I'll get it next time. And then after the raptor's down, he's in there going like, no, God, how do I feed my? No wonder they went extinct. They couldn't reach their.
Though, because at that time you were actually praising President Xi. You were saying he was transparent, you were saying he was strong, you were saying he was doing a good job.
That is correct. Let me write that down. Oh. Somebody got a fact right, so I had to.
Job. Did you get that wrong? Did you misjudge President?
I don't know if you're responding to the Trump T-Rex, the Trump Rex, spelled W-R-E-C-K-S. We have a good time here. But Joanna, producer Joanna, just said he trips over his long tie. And I'm picturing a little tiny T-Rex with tiny little hands with a long red tie, just tripping over it. And then trying to get himself up. And then going down the ramp very slowly. Hold on. I might have to grab you, General. Hold on, my patent leather shoes are very slippery. Hold on, I
think I did. We just finished a trade deal. We just had the largest order of corn in the history of our country last week.
I haven't even fact-checked that, but I don't, like, how? I don't think the agriculture, Department of Agriculture even comes out with stats that quickly, but maybe. You know what? I'll go ahead and give it a yes, because who the fuck cares? We have a record trade deficit with China. The tariffs have killed manufacturing.
Largest order of soybeans, largest order of beef, because they know I'm very unhappy. They know. But you said he was doing a good job, and now you're blaming China. No, I didn't.
Yeah. He just corrected himself midstream there. Hold on. He didn't correct himself. He just lied about himself. Second here. Give me a second. I got to go back to catch that, because my brain just said, like, wait a minute. Didn't he just agree with George? Okay, George says, you were saying he was transparent. Did you get that wrong? And then Trump is like, no, I didn't. I'm very angry at them.
I don't think I did. We just finished a trip.
I didn't get it wrong that they were being transparent, and I was praising them. I did not get that wrong. That's what he just said. I don't think I did.
Trade deal. We just had the largest order of corn in the history of our country.
And to justify him not being wrong about them, we just had a large deal with it.
Yeah. The largest order of soybeans, largest order of beef. Because they know I'm very unhappy. They know I'm
I'm very unhappy. But you just said you weren't wrong about them being really, really great.
A good job, and now you're blaming China.
No, I didn't say one way or the other. I'm not saying one.
You did say one way or the other. You said I wasn't wrong about praising them. The question was, you were praising them. Were you wrong? No, I wasn't. Oh, I didn't say, though, whether I was or not.
One way or the other. At the beginning, before anybody knew what it was, I spoke with President Xi, and he said, we are doing it well. We are having it under control. And I was very open with that. He told me that it was under control, that everything was, and it turned out to be not true.
Oh, the irony. Oh, my God. My fact check, once I get it all together, is going to be 3.5 hours long. Let me see. I mean, even just the stuff that I have prepped already for that. Let's see what I can find here, just to show you guys. Yeah, here's speaking of under control.
Has your own sense of urgency evolved, and are you changing what you're doing?
No, I've been urgent. This is urgent for me right from the beginning.
Have you been briefed by the CDC?
I have.
Are there words about a pandemic at this point?
No, we're not at all, and we have it totally under control.
Under control.
One person coming in from China.
One person.
And we have it under control. It's going to be just fine.
Under control.
How concerned are you?
Well, we pretty much shut it down. Just take it nice and easy, okay? Just relax.
Okay, so I have like 20 videos of him saying it's under control, and Kellyanne Conway under control, and was it Navarro? I think it was Navarro with airtight. Might have been Kudlow. They're the same. They've become like this Cudvarlo. It's even hard to say. Navarro? Navarro. They become one person in my head, and I'm pretty sure they are. It's like Jekyll and Hyde, but they're both Hyde.
Because it wasn't under control. It went all over the world, 188 countries. So I didn't say anything bad about President Xi initially because nobody knew much about the disease. Nobody knew the seniors are susceptible. They thought people would be susceptible. But
No, we knew that immediately. We knew that even before it got here. Yeah, we knew at the very beginning that China and the World Health Organization were telling us the scene was. I can't. I think they were telling us.
You know,
you know how much time on February 4th, even with all the warnings that they got, you know how much time Trump devoted to the coronavirus in the State of the Union on February 4th? 15 seconds. And that's if you take the very beginning and the very end of the sentence.
Seniors are really a...
Yeah, well, Kellyanne Conway was, you don't think it's being contained? Are you a doctor? Are you a doctor? To the reporter. Yeah, that's why I'm standing here with a mic, with an iPhone recording you, because I'm a doctor.
Very, very endangered group of people, especially...
I do not miss Kellyanne Conway.
They have problems with hearts or diabetes or any of that. So
you mentioned masks. We had Julie Bart, who's from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
She's right here. She has a question about that. You voted for Hillary Clinton last time, I believe.
Yes, I did. The wearing of masks has proven to lessen the spread of COVID.
Yeah.
Why don't you support a mandate for national mask wearing, and why don't you wear a mask more often?
Well, I do wear them when I have to and when I'm in hospitals and other locations, but I will say this.
Why don't you wear one more often? That's the question.
They said at the Democrat convention they're going to
Democratic.
do a national mandate. They never
Yes, if they win.
did it because they've checked out and they didn't do it. And
They have to win.
them when I have to and when I'm in hospitals and other locations, but I will say this. They said at the Democrat convention they're going to do a national mandate. They never did it because they've checked out and they didn't do it.
They haven't won. We haven't had the election yet. How do you check out? How do you check out without winning?
And
Or losing, for that matter.
a good question is,
It was Joe Biden who called for national mask mandate. And then repeatedly, he's done it several times, and he said that the governor should impose it.
you ask, like Joe Biden, they said we're going to do a national mandate on masks.
He's called on all governors to have them. It is a state
Well, no,
responsibility.
but he didn't do it. I mean, he never did it.
He has. He's called on the governors to impose mask mandates. By the way, I put together a very, very handy little map. What I did is I took all the states that have mask mandates, or sorry, even better, I took all the states that don't have mask mandates. And there's 11 or 12, 13 of them that have no mask mandates yet. Statewide mask mandates. And what I did was, because Joe Biden has said the governors should do this, and Trump is saying he hasn't done anything. Remember, mask mandates have to be on a statewide level, from the governors, not from the president. That's the way the Constitution works. The 10th Amendment makes sure that works. So what I did was, the states that don't have a mask mandate, if they're Republican, red, and Democrat, blue. Here's what that looks like. Now you may be wondering, where are all the blue states without mask mandates, Kevin? And if you are wondering that, what the hell, dude? Of course, every single Democratic governor has put in a mask mandate. Of course! And this is why Scientific American, a magazine that's been around for 150 years, for the first time in their history, endorsed a presidential candidate today. They had a tweet. They said, normally we don't do this. We haven't done it in 150, 170 years, however many years it's been around. Please vote for Biden. I like the color. I think it looks pretty. See, wouldn't it ruin it if it had a bunch of blue all over the place? Look at that. Every single one of those red states, Republican. But, you know what? It's President Biden's fault.
Now, there is, by the way, a lot of people don't want to wear masks. There are a lot of people think the masks are not good. And there are a lot of people that, as an example, you have those.
I think I heard this part. Yeah, yes. Who are those people? Okay, we've done 5 minutes. We've been broadcasting for 39 minutes. We are 5 minutes through the slog.
On masks.
He's called on all governors to have them. It is a state responsibility.
No, but he didn't do it. I mean, he never did it. Now, there is, by the way, a lot of people don't want to wear masks. There are a lot of people think the masks are not good. And there are a lot of people that, as an example,
Who are those people?
Well, I'll tell you who those people are. Waiters. They come over and they serve you, and they have a mask. And I saw it the other day where they...
That will never not be funny. Who are those people who think that masks are bad? Waiters. Oh, waiters. Okay. Waiters.
They were serving me, and they're playing with a mask. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying what happens.
Hold on.
They're not good. And there are a lot of people that, as an example,
Who are those people?
Well, I'll tell you who those people are. Waiters. They come over and they serve you, and they have a mask. And I saw it the other day where they were serving me.
The other day sounds like last week, but it could be months ago. We have no idea.
And they're playing with a mask. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying what happens. They're playing with a mask, so the mask is over, and they're touching it, and then they're touching the plate. That can't be good. There are a lot.
Why are you eating in a restaurant? That can't be good.
A lot of people, if you look at Dr. Fauci's original statement, you look at a lot of people, CDC, you look at a lot of people's original statement, they said very strongly, George, don't.
It wasn't strong, but they were saying that Americans right now don't need masks. And the reason they said that is because you didn't enact the Defense Production Act to create the masks that we knew we would needed. And so both the World Health Organization and the CDC decided it was best to tell people not to have masks because they needed to make sure that the medical staff had masks. Now, is that a lie? Yeah, it was a lie. They lied to the public because they didn't want to have a run on masks because we didn't have enough masks. And if the medical personnel don't have the masks, they catch it and they die. And there's only so many medical staffs you can lose before everybody dies, because there's nobody left to take care of the sick. So yeah, they wanted to ensure, and we still don't have enough masks. We still don't have enough PPE. And we knew that we needed it back in January. And that is why Dr. Bright, the whistleblower, was fired.
Don't wear a mask.
Actually, that was because of hydroxychloroquine, but he was out there shouting, hey, we need to have masks. That being said, as of right now, we should all be wearing KN95 masks. The regular masks, the surgical masks, they don't protect us. It's good. If you can't get an N95 mask or a KN95 mask, wear the surgical mask. But otherwise, the KN95 masks, at least in Los Angeles, you can find them. They're at some of the hardware stores, corner stores, grocery stores, especially some of the Asian markets. Go get yourself a KN95 mask. It will protect you and the other people. Don't the surgical mask, the what are they called? Gaiters? Useless. Now, that being said, if that's all you have, wear it. But I want you guys to protect yourself. And it will come, like I said, when the masks were like, hey, don't wear a mask. I'm like, no, we should be wearing masks. And I was ordering masks from China. Just like I said back then, I don't think I was even live streaming then. But just like I said back then, it's gonna turn out that we're supposed to have masks, and they're telling us we don't. This is what's happening right now. We should have KN95 masks. We should have N95 masks. There's the other one as well. Does anybody know what the other one is? Not the KN95, but the South Korean. I think it's an N94 or a K94. Somebody look that up. Anyway, get yourself one of those masks if you can. If you can't, wear the regular mask. But they're all over the place. Just down here at the Ace Hardware, I bought a 10-pack for Kevin Lee Daughter for $25. So they're about $2.50 a piece. They're more expensive if you order them online, but do what you can to get one, because that will protect you. And we all know there's enough mask holes out there that don't do it properly or wear it like that. See a lot of this? You see a lot of this? Like that? So don't let the mask holes decide how you live.
And all of a sudden...
Anyway, like I was saying, at some point it will come out that they should have told us to have N95 masks, or respirators is what they are. I shouldn't do that because it makes it sound like it's not that, but they're the respirators. We should all be wearing respirators. And at some point it will come out that, yeah, we probably should have had it, but we didn't have enough because the Defense Production Act wasn't enacted until way too late.
And they went to wear masks. The concept of a mask is good, but it also does, you're constantly touching it, you're touching...
Yeah, what I would do if you're looking at the N95 mask or the KN95 mask is I would buy one, and like if they have boxes and they sell them individually, which I've seen in a lot of Asian markets, they do that, one for $5. Get the one for $5 and try it. At Random is saying that the nose clip thing pulled away from the mask. Try it out for a couple of days. If it's good, go back and buy a box of them. But find one that works for your face. There are a lot of knockoffs. There are a lot that aren't that protective because they're just faulty. Do your research. It's really, again, we're left powerless against this thing, but do your best.
Your face, you're touching plates. There are people...
Stanford University did a study on masks, and the study that they did on masks said that people touch their face far less when they're wearing a mask because you're conscious of it. So you have to adjust it from time to time, yes, but actually touching the face and spreading germs to the face, to the orifices, you're far more likely to rub your eye, this is what the study said, than if you're wearing if you're not wearing anything on your face, because we just touch our face. Someone told me like 800 times per hour, and I think that's nonsense. I mean, we just do things where we don't even realize that we're touching our face sometimes, but we are. But when we have a mask on, we actually touch our face less. Fauci a couple of times has postulated that maybe, I should try and do Fauci's voice, maybe. It's so raspy because he's talking all the time. Oh, Lizzie switched over to Twitch so she can swear. Anyway, where are we here? We're already at like 45 lies.
People that don't think masks are good.
Let's get one final question on COVID. We've got Johnny Powell right here. She's from...
Yeah, some people think that masks aren't good. Are those the doctors? Are those the scientists? Are they? Because everything in the medical journal said that masks are good. So, but he's got a good argument there. If the waiter says they're not good...
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And you actually haven't voted before. How are you?
Hello, hi. My question is, if you believe it's the president's responsibility to protect America, why would you downplay a pandemic that is known to disproportionately harm low-income families and minority communities?
Yeah. Well, I didn't downplay it. I actually, in many ways, I upplayed it in terms of action.
First off, not a thing. Secondly, he did say that he didn't downplay it. I put that together. That's the first clip that I saw from this, and I put that together on my page. I'll play it for you quickly. Some of you have already seen it and shared it. Here it is right here.
Is known to downplay a pandemic that is known to disproportionately harm low-income families and minority communities.
Yeah. Well, I didn't downplay it. I actually, in many ways, I upplayed it in terms of action.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes, sir.
Because I don't want to create a panic.
Shut the facts up!
She's so cute. I like the little...
A pandemic that is known to disproportionately...
Boop. So there's that. I put that together yesterday. Before it even happened. I'm that good. That's why you pay me the big bucks. Let me put this back. Give me a moment. Downplay. Let me mark that down. Upplay. I upplayed it in terms of action. What did he say about the mind? In terms of the... It wasn't in terms of the mind. In respect of the mind. What did he say the other day about the mind? What do now, people? Someone's going to remember this. Not in regards to the mind. It wasn't in terms of. It's the other thing that he says. And now I can't think of it. Come on, people. You guys are a little bit behind. So one of you is going to remind me here in a second. Let me close this window because we don't need it. Let's go here. What did he say? Now it's bothering me. And it made me laugh so hard. It was... Oh, the vaccine. It was the vaccine was from the standpoint of mind. That's what he said. From the standpoint of mind. And a vaccine coming out is going to be so great. From the standpoint of mind.
My action was very strong.
Yeah, don't send your kids to school. Here's the thing. Meatpacking plants. 200 dead from the meat. 200 meatpacking workers. That doesn't include the number of people that were infected and then spread to nursing homes, etc. Meatpacking plants. Prisons have huge outbreaks, many dead, and then, of course, nursing homes. What do all of those people or those things have in common? People spending hours today close to each other. What other situation do we have that where people spend hours a day close to each other? What? Schools. No, do not send your kids to school right now unless the positivity rate in your area is down at 2% is pushing it. Don't. And here's the thing about the kids. Most of them will be asymptomatic and you won't know. So unless you have testing available on a very regular basis, and again, testing isn't going to show anything for 3 to 5 days. You could get it and 5 days later test just fine. I haven't watched Rachel Maddow tonight, but I watched it yesterday. Yeah, was she talking about the meat packing? I did see that the fines for the meatpacking industry it's like you could fine me a nickel and have about the same effect. The meatpacking makes meat. We eat meat. I guess it's my fault because I do eat ribs. Yeah, but it's ridiculous. I saw I don't remember the names of meat. Jay something. Anyway, one of them had like 6 deaths and they were fined like $20,000 or something. It's ridiculous. But Rachel yesterday was breathtaking. Watched the first segment of Rachel yesterday, and as it turns out, Michael Caputo has apparently asked for medical leave. Joanna, you were supposed to go to bed already.
Yeah, because what I did was with China, I put a ban on. With Europe, I put a ban on. And we would have lost thousands of more people had I not put the ban on. So that was called action.
But you downplayed it. You downplayed it with your words so that people are running around out there thinking that it's a hoax. They go to your rallies and they don't wear masks. And they walk by and stand right next to me at the fucking grocery stores. I have to get food. And those COVIDiots come stand directly next to me and sometimes say, "Hey, how about those Rams?"
Not with the mouth, but in actual fact, we did a very, very good
So what the president's saying is, what I say doesn't matter.
job when we put that ban on. Whether you call it talent or luck, it was very important. So we saved a lot.
Extreme Manufacturing was fined $3,000 for yesterday's rally. What was that? The one in Arizona, Rich?
Of lives.
That was. It looked like it was an industrial park. Was that the one in Arizona? No, that couldn't have been Arizona because Arizona doesn't have a limit. They have Ducey as their governor. Hey, Rich, give me a little more information. At random, a woman standing right by me in Costco pulled her mask down to sneeze. Yeah, I've heard that story from at random. That is true. I may get this wrong. Correct me if it's wrong. But as I understand the story, the lady is standing right next to at random in Costco, pulls her mask down, and sneezes because she didn't want to sneeze, into the mask. And everybody around her was like, "What the fuck, lady?" That's the general image I have of that story that at random shared. I don't. For those of you who haven't heard that story before, I think that's it. At random, you can correct me, but the general gist. At least I know at random reacted like, "What, lady? What do you think the mask is for?" I just dipped my hand in the bitchin' sauce, which is fine. Yeah. Producer Joanna says, "I know someone who was sitting next to a guy on a plane who did exactly the same thing." Nevada, Henderson, Nevada, just outside of Vegas. That was Henderson, Nevada, though. Yeah, that was a facility. The Treasure Island thing, something else happened at Treasure Island, and that's a buddy of Trump's who works in the Trump organization. But that's another story. We don't have time to sort that out right now.
When we did that.
There were holes in the ban, and the European ban didn't come for another month.
Well, they were Americans. I mean, the holes in were if you have somebody in China that's an American citizen, we have.
Or Chinese, who hasn't been to Wuhan, or anyone from Hong Kong or Macau, even though they are Chinese.
Had to let them in. I mean, there were actually some people that said, well, once it got going, they said, wait a minute, that is really a heavily infected place. And we had a case where we had a lot of Americans. They probably had COVID.
Okay, here's the rest of this story. I looked at her and said, "Seriously? Why do you think you're wearing a mask?" And I think she just realized that what had happened and said story and went to stand across the aisle. Okay, so that worked out well. Babe said, "I watched a girl from a Hutterite colony where there are spikes the past 2 weeks." I'm imagining the Hutterite, I'm not sure what a Hutterite colony is, where there are spikes the past 2 weeks. Pull her mask down to ask a clerk at Costco a question from 2 feet from her face. Yeah, a lot of people do that. They pull it down to talk. When I can understand you. Joanna says, bathe, like cave. Yeah? And Eve says, and kids, what the hell do you think they will do with a sub? I cannot even imagine them doing, so we'll see. How many are there? Some are online since it's choice. Half there are probably, with the substitute teachers, yeah. Maybe 20 per class. Hutterites are like the Amish. I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. Thank you, babe. Lizzie Dog says, I. That sums it up. You could be president.
And we're saying, do we let them into our country? We let them in very carefully. We quarantine them, but we let them in. But, yeah, they say that we allowed certain people, and it's true, but they were American citizens.
I want to move on to some other subjects, but, you know.
And we didn't test them.
We still are dealing with 195,000 deaths in the United States right now. When you see that, when you think about that, does that give you any pause?
How many did George say?
Say that we allowed certain people, and it's true, but they were American citizens.
I want to move on to some other subjects, but, you know, we still are dealing with 195,000 deaths in the United States right now. When you see that, when you think about that, does that give you any pause? Does it make you think, is there anything I could have done differently? Anything?
That's about right, 195,000. We looked that up. Did I like my own stream yet? I didn't. Hold on. So up in the corner here, you can see the number of likes in the stream. If it's blue, I liked it. So for some reason, we decided it was a good idea for people to like my stream. Oh, look at that. People are liking. And if you don't like the stream, you can do this. You can dislike the stream. Thank you a lot. And sometimes if I'm not happy with you guys, I'll do this.
She called these Americans every name in the book. Racist.
Oh, somebody
sexist,
disliked it.
xenophobic, Islamophobic.
Hold on. I got to disable the every time it's going to come up and do that. Otherwise, the xenophobic. I kind of like that. Sometimes this guy likes to come up and just do his own thing randomly whenever, and I love it.
Where are you going?
I can listen to that 5,000 times, except when I play it on here, I don't hear it. You guys hear it. I don't hear it, but I love it, one way or the other. How many minutes in are we? Well, we've been broadcasting for 59 minutes. We are 7 minutes into the broadcast. I told you guys, this is an all-nighter. Did producer Joanna head to bed? Someone said, oh yeah, somebody said night, Joanna. So Joanna, if you're still listening, sleep well.
I think we could have had 2 million deaths if we didn't close out the country.
So you regret nothing?
No, I think we did a great job. If we didn't close the country, look, I created, we all created together. You helped everybody. The fact is, we created the greatest economy in the history of the world. Best employment numbers for African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, women, everything. The best employment, high school, no high school, college. We had the best economy we've ever had. 160 million people, almost, just short of 160 million people. We were never close. And then somebody comes in, and then somebody else, doctors, and they start talking about the pandemic and about closing. They want to close up our country. I said, wait a minute.
I think someone just fell down in the audience.
We have the greatest country, the greatest economy, and it was coming together even in terms of unity because...
Shh, everybody stop talking until producer Joanna goes to sleep, okay? Everyone, we're not gonna do anything for a few minutes. Because she won't leave otherwise, apparently. Okay, I think she's gone.
Let's celebrate.
He's gone to bed now, so we can do this. Break good times, come on. Bum, 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 bum. Woo! No Joanna! Woo! Celebrate good times, come on.
There's a party going on right here. A celebration.
I'm going to get dinged. Here we go.
It was so successful that people that weren't getting along were starting to get along, George. That's the way we solved that problem. But we...
No. The economy was not so successful that people who weren't getting along were starting to get along. We were having record hate crimes. That's what was going on. There was no, oh, look, there's so many people working that nobody's a racist anymore. It's the stupidest thing. Wow. Hate crimes were up, what, 50%? Somebody knows this. Somebody knows this. Hate crimes each year under Trump has risen. But, yeah, have risen.
We had the greatest economy ever, and we have to close it. If I didn't close it, I think you'd have 2 million deaths instead of having the one.
He didn't close anything.
85, 190. It's a terrible number.
Many experts say if we would have.
George just said a minute ago that it was 195. Trump has to downplay it. He's downplaying it right now. He's literally doing it in real time. George, a person sitting 8 feet away from him, just told him 34 seconds ago 195,000. And now suddenly it's 185, 190. He has to downplay it.
Had more mitigation earlier on, there would have been fewer deaths.
George, I was so far ahead of my closing, and I'll give you an example. When I closed at the end of January, Joe Biden was talking about in March about it's totally over-exaggerated. Nancy Pelosi.
No, there is, Joe Biden never said that. Joe Biden was screaming about this in an op-ed to USA Today saying, we are not prepared for a pandemic. Joe Biden, okay. Does anybody know anything about Joe Biden saying it's totally over-exaggerated? Because I don't think there is any evidence of that whatsoever. And I've never liked the expression over-exaggerated. It seems redundant and redundant.
He was standing in the streets of Chinatown in San Francisco late, a month, more than a month after that, saying this thing's totally exaggerated, to try and build up tourism.
What? I know the story of Nancy, but when does he say that happened?
About it's totally over-exaggerated. Nancy Pelosi was standing in the streets of Chinatown in San Francisco late, a month, more than a month after that.
No, she was not a month after this middle of March or whatever he said, Joe Biden. Yeah. And at the time, the CDC was saying it's fine to go. She was trying to fight racism, anti-Asian sentiment that was building. Nancy, and no, I wouldn't have gone. And by the way, Chinatown has not shown to be in a hotspot in San Francisco. But yeah, I think he said Joe was the middle of March.
Saying this thing's totally exaggerated, to try and build up tourism. And all of these
You were saying it was going to disappear.
What?
You were saying it was going to disappear.
It is going to disappear. It's going to disappear.
But not if we don't take action, correct?
No, I still say it. It's going to disappear, George. We're going to get back. We're not going to have studios like this. We have all.
There's no evidence that it will disappear. We don't know much about this coronavirus. It's a new virus. We've only discovered 7 coronaviruses. We just don't know. We don't know that it will disappear. It could stick around. I mean, polio was around for a long time. Malaria is still out there. There's things that just don't disappear. They're part of the natural order of things. Unless we take action against it, it could be around until all the humans are gone.
Of this empty space in between. I want to see people, and you want to see people. I want to see football games. I'm pushing very hard for Big Ten. I want to see Big Ten open, let the football games, let them play sports. But no, it's good.
The virus will disappear. Why do you think it will disappear? I want to see football. Okay.
Going to disappear, George.
But Dr. Fauci and I say we have to be prepared we have to hunker down. We have to be prepared for a possible second wave.
You're thinking of Barb. She's babe. She's in Canada.
I understand that you don't want to panic people. You said you want people to be calm. You've often talked about Winston Churchill and FDR, and they did reassure people. They were strong. They did keep people calm, but they also were straight. They said this war is going to be tough. It's going to be a real fight. We have to persevere.
So when Churchill was on the top of a building...
Wait, what did he say?
Often talked about Winston Churchill and FDR, and they did reassure people. They were strong. They did keep people calm, but they also were straight. They said this war is going to be tough. It's going to be a real fight. We have to persevere.
So when Churchill was on the top of a building, and he said everything's going to be good, everything's going to be calm.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out what he says before he starts talking about...
calm, but they also were straight.
Yeah, I can't remember it, Kevinly brother. Did you have malaria? I can't remember if you got it or not. When we lived in Africa. We lived in Africa as kids. And I never got malaria, but my Kevinly brother and Kevinly little sister got hit really hard with a bunch of diseases that them, being Native North Americans, had no immunity to whatsoever. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Mom and Dad were trying to kill you. I mean, when you think about it.
They said this war is going to be tough. It's going to be a real fight. We have to persevere.
So when Churchill was on the top of a building...
I can't... I'm sorry. Does anybody...
Then talked about Winston Churchill.
What does he say while George is talking? I can't make it out.
And FDR, and they did reassure people. They were strong. They did keep people calm, but they also were straight. They said this war is going to be tough. It's going to be a real fight. We have to persevere.
So
I don't know what he's saying.
When Churchill was on the top of a building, and he said everything's going to be good, everything's going to be calm, and you have...
Okay, first off, keep calm and carry on was not used in the Second World War. That came later in England. This is not a government poster. It's a belief that someone made up in like the 50s or say. It's not a thing. It's an urban legend. Second thing, Winston Churchill didn't give any speeches on tops of buildings during bombing raids. No, what he would do is he would go up on the tops of buildings and watch bombing raids to see what the Germans were doing. But who the fuck would go on? It's a bombing raid. Wow, he doesn't know anything about Churchill. I actually I sent myself something that Churchill said. The question is, yes, they were reassuring to people, but they also told it straight. This is from one of Churchill's most famous speeches. This is Trump saying we got it under control. It's going away. We're at 15 people now, and pretty soon it'll be close to 0, and we'll have done a good job. This, by contrast, is Winston Churchill. We have before us an ordeal of the most grievous kind. We have before us many, many long months of struggle and of suffering. It's a little bit different than, well, it'll be down, it's close to 0, and then everybody will be fine. We got it, it's completely contained.
The Nazis dropping bombs all over London.
Did he really, Kevinly brother? Is there a Doctor Who episode where Churchill gives a speech on the roof? I need to know what episode that was. Because that may be where Trump got it from.
He was very brave because he was at the top.
At some point, Hitler will go away. He will just disappear like a miracle.
Top of a building. It was very well known that he was standing on buildings and they were bombing. And he says everyone's going to be safe. I don't think that's...
We will fight them with the vaccine. We will fight them with the hydroxychloroquine. We will fight them with Operation Warp Speed.
It's being necessarily honest. And
Hitler will go away in April.
Yet I think it's being a great leader. But he said, you're going to be safe. Be calm. Don't panic. And you had bombers dropping bombs all over London. So I guess you could say that's not so honest, but it's still great leadership.
So do you think it's...
Oh, so it's okay to not be honest because that's great leadership. Holy fuck. Wait, Marcy, is it called TARDIS on the Beaches? This is retardus on the beaches. I shouldn't say that. Retard's not a good word. I shouldn't say, but it's funny. It's funny. so I'm going to stick with it. I won't put this in the replay. Hold on, I got to write that down. TARDIS on the beaches. Oh, wait, is that a joke? We will fight them on the beaches. Yes, that's a joke. I bet it's... TARDIS on the beach. If that's a... I know just enough about Doctor Who to appreciate that joke. TARDIS on the beaches. I'm going to look it up anyway. And now they've got a doctor who's a woman. And that's not the way that but we have to be politically correct. So he's saying that good leadership is lying to the people.
It's okay to be dishonest.
I'm not looking to be dishonest. I don't want people to panic, and we are going to be okay. We're going to be okay, and it is going away, and it's probably going to go away now a lot faster because of the vaccine. It would go away without the vaccine, George, but it's going to go away a lot faster with it.
It would go away without the vaccine?
No evidence of that. That's not how science works.
Sure, over a period of time. Sure, with time it goes.
As Todd Stubler pointed out, in 4 billion years, the sun will go supernova and the virus will go away. It doesn't do well in the heat. Trump has explained that come April.
Many deaths.
And you'll develop.
Deep State, I think you're right. I think he has whatever disorder it is, and I think he's one of the few that has it. If he says something a couple of times, he starts to believe it. And I just don't... I don't know how many people have that disorder, and I don't know that it's actually classified in the DSM as a disorder. But he will start to believe what he is. Now, there's a difference between that and, if you visualize it, you'll make it happen, and it's manifest thinking and all that other stuff. This is a psychological impairment that he has. Hey, Rodney, good to see you. Herd mentality? Yes, herd mentality. Is that what he's about to say? He's going to talk about herd immunity?
You'll develop a herd mentality. It's going to be herd developed, and that's going to happen.
Holy shit! He actually said that. I didn't. Does he correct himself here? Hold on, I got to go back. Did he say this already? Did I miss it when he said it, Rodney? Here we go.
The vaccine, George, but it's going to go away a lot faster with it.
It would go away without the vaccine?
Sure, over a period of time. Sure, with time it goes.
And many deaths.
And you'll develop a herd mentality. It's going to be herd developed, and that's going to happen. That will all happen.
Like buffalo that just run off the cliff? Fact check, they're bison, not related to the buffalo.
But with the vaccine, I think it will go away very quickly.
Got to take a quick break.
But I really believe we're...
No, don't take a quick break. Correct him. Ask him what he means by herd mentality.
Rounding the corner, and I believe that's true.
As you know, Dr. Fauci disagrees with that.
Well, but a lot of people do agree with me. You look at Scott Atlas.
Scott Atlas, the doctor, the radiologist who has no degree in immunizations, immunity, or virology. He's a radiologist. He takes MRIs of people's necks. That's what he does. And he has denied counseling Trump on herd mentality or immunity. I guess he apparently has, because Trump is now saying that. But if Trump's saying that, then it's not true, which means that Scott Atlas is telling the truth. Woo! I cannot handle that right now. I see, now I'm just my brain has shut itself off. I can't, there's a schism, and I don't know what to think about any of this. Wow. Okay, George, you should have corrected him on that. Ask him what he meant by herd mentality. By the way, so some of Dr. Atlas's colleagues do not agree with him. In fact, 78 of them penned an open letter. 78 other medical professionals at Stanford University penned an open letter saying that he's playing fast and furious with the scientific facts. Lying.
Get some of the other doctors that are highly from Stanford. Look at some of
the other doctors at Stanford. 78 of them wrote a letter saying Scott Atlas is a quack.
The other doctors, they think maybe we could have done that from the beginning. I think we did it exactly right. We closed it up. Now we're opening, and we're opening up to a super V because the numbers are fantastic. The employment numbers.
Super V is not a thing.
You look at
I thought we were going to take a break.
10.4 million jobs in 4 months. That's a record by far. We have every record. Retail sales are through the roof. We have every record. We did the right thing. If we didn't close it up, I believe we'd have 2 million.
Again, this is, yes, we scored 4 touchdowns in the third quarter. We've never done that before. That's a new record. Well, the other team had 78 touchdowns in the first half, so...
2.5, maybe 3 million deaths.
We're going to take more about the economy when we come back, but also race, policing, and protests. We'll be right back.
Oh, good. Race, policing, and protests.
The people that...
Eating a banana somewhere.
No one goes home a loser. They'll already...
Okay.
President Trump, the next question comes from Laura Galva. She's from Glenshaw, Pennsylvania, registered nurse who's always voted Republican for president. Laura, go ahead.
Hello, Mr. President. Martin Luther King Jr. once famously wrote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." In the light of the ongoing protests surrounding the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and the recent shooting of Jacob...
I don't even want to see this. I don't want to... Like, okay, well, you guys have seen this already, so... like, what is he going to do to this? I don't want... It's just going to make me feel terrible about humanity, specifically him.
Jacob Blake, do you feel racial injustices are occurring in this nation? And if so, what can be done to address them?
Well, he'll say, yes, they are, but we are a great nation, and I've done more for blacks because of unemployment.
Well, I think they were tragic events, and I do feel that we have to also take into consideration that if you look at our police, they do a phenomenal job. You'll have people choke, make mistakes, and they happen. It happens.
He's doing the choking thing like a 3-foot putt.
To make a fast decision, and some bad things happen. And you also have bad apples, but you have 99% great people. I know the police...
Sorry about all the dead black guys, because, you know, bad apples.
Forces very well. I think almost every one of them, if you look, I've been endorsed by...
Oh, I'm looking forward to this, Marcy.
So many of them. And these are great people. And I will say this, if you're going to stop crime, we have to give the respect back to the police.
Are there racial injustices going on?
Yes, that they deserve. They've done a fantastic job in so many...
Does the questioner still have a mic? Is this really going to happen right now?
Locations, but then bad things happen. Look at New York. New York was a very safe city. Rudy Giuliani. So
Rodney, is it okay if I just talk about you personally here in the live stream? I don't want to, you know, if you don't want any personal information being released, and it's nothing bad. It's just a funny story that I've actually never shared with you. I know Rodney personally. But if that's cool, if you'd rather stay sort of incognito on here online, I totally understand that. I won't talk about it, but I do have kind of a funny story about Rodney. But I don't have to share it online. Happy not to. Either way.
He did a fantastic...
I mean, we are now 16 minutes into this thing, and we've been broadcasting for an hour and 20 minutes, so...
job. The city was safe, and then all of a sudden we have a mayor. He starts cutting the police force, and crime is up 100%, 150%. I saw one form of crime up 300%. So I think it's very important, whether you talk Seattle, where they have very good police, but they're not allowed to do their job. You have to allow the police to do their job. I agree with you. Those events are terrible, but we have to allow the police to do their job. Otherwise, crime is going to soar. Now, the problem is that in Democrat, usually liberal Democrat-run cities, we have tremendous problems.
Gun murders are up, way up. But that's specific weeks, and, you know, this could be 3 weeks old. I have to check the crime stats in New York. Again, through August, crime in New York was actually down 5% because people are staying home year over year. But if you took a week in August versus the week of the riots from last year, this year, yeah, crime is increased because there were the riots.
The top 10 most unsafe cities are run by Democrats. You go into the top 25 and top 35, almost every one of them is run by Democrats. No cash bail, just weak policies on crime. We have to give...
No cash bail isn't instituted anywhere yet, I don't think.
The police the respect that they deserve, and we have to give them their mojo. We have to let them protect us. How about that hard...
We have to give the police their mojo? The fuck does that even... Like, who? What? I'm writing this down. I'm writing the note to myself. Give police their mojo. I do not know what I'm going to do with that. What do I do with, I don't know how do I fact check mojo? What does it even mean? The police are not on a winning streak. They're on a murdering spree. Not all police. No, he has not answered the question. He has not answered a question about racist acts or racial injustice. He just called those deaths tragic, which they are.
Horrible.
Oh, but of course Blake is paralyzed, not dead.
Crime that took place 2 days ago, where this terrible human being walks up to a police car with two people sitting in the car, and he starts shooting bullets right through the glass, right in their face.
Yeah, terrible.
And just has destroyed. I mean, I hear they're going to make it, but they're going to have a hard time ever being the same.
Mr. President, you're right.
And it's just a terrible thing.
That was monstrous. There's no question about that. But a lot of people look at the statistics.
But that's a lack of respect. When somebody can do that, that's a lack of respect.
That's murder. That's a psychopath murdering people. Attempted murder, anyway. Hopefully, both the officers are reportedly going to recover as much as you can recover from shots to the head. But yeah, that's not a lack of respect. Well, yes, yeah, technically it is a lack of respect. I'm not giving that a long ring.
Respect. There's no retribution. They feel there's no retribution. This guy walks up to a police car and he starts shooting point blank range at two innocent people. You can't let that happen. You have to be.
How are you going to stop that from happening? How did the mayor let that happen?
Very tough on crime when it comes to things.
Tough on crime, but also obey the rules and regulations for policing. And you talk about police choking. You talk about bad.
Here's the thing, and I can speak from experience. Producer Rich backed me up on this. I live in the Los Angeles basin. Last time I checked, and they could have changed it within the last week, murder? Illegal. Attempted murder? Illegal. Shooting someone in the face? Illegal. Retribution is like mob mentality. You're absolutely right, plagued by society. By society. What he meant to say is mob immunity. I haven't heard back from Rodney, so he may not be watching. I won't tell you the story about Rodney, which is totally cool. By the way, Rodney, if you are watching, totally respect your privacy.
At apples. But a lot of people look at the statistics. Black Americans more than 3 times more likely than white Americans to be killed by police. And that indicates that this just isn't bad apples. This just isn't choking. This is a real systemic, endemic problem. Do you believe that? What will you do to address it?
So
First off, he doesn't understand the difference between systemic and endemic because he doesn't understand either of those words.
A poll where African Americans in this country, black communities, are 81% in favor of having more police. They want more police. They want protection. They suffer more than anybody else.
Oh, Rodney, it's a story I've never even told you, actually. But it's just a little, it's not a personal story, I guess. It's kind of, but some people don't want anything about them discussed online. And I want to clear it with you before I tell anybody. And I'm not giving any personal details about you, except one detail that's obvious to everybody in public. So that, anyway, it's just, but it's not a necessary story. It's just a story that I've never shared with you. And if you don't want me to share it online, that's fine. It doesn't give away your address or anything like that. But I will tell you the next time I talk to you, because I've never mentioned it before.
Else by bad police protection. All minorities, whether it's Hispanic or black or Asian, they suffer more than anybody else, George. We have to give the police back the authority to stop crime. When you have something like in Portland where it's just night after.
They have the authority to stop crime. I mean, if they see a crime being committed, they are allowed to stop it. What he's talking about is police not being able to use force against protests. For example, tear gas. He thought that he would be able to use tear gas against Americans that were peacefully protesting, and he did. And for some reason, there's been no retribution. Speaking of retribution, that should be every ad, every break, every hour on all the channels. The Democrats have all this money they're not using right now, and they're not capitalizing on the fact that the President of the United States tear-gassed Americans. That's a layup. That's not even a layup. That's a 3-inch putt. And somehow the Democrats are choking. If liberals are so goddamn smart, why do they lose so goddamn always? There's an F-bomb in the original quote. It's from the Newsroom. If you haven't seen the Newsroom, watch the Newsroom. Rich Max says 81% of blacks want more police. What poll is he reciting? That's accurate, though. I've seen similar polls to that, too. Everybody wants more police, but they just want just policing. It's not that hard to differentiate. Let's see. Oh, Rodney, what people have rights? Nobody has rights, apparently. Hold on. I'm catching up on the chat here. Oh, it's way behind. Look at this, 18-4 likes. Who are the 4 dislikes? People disliking, if you're in the room, tell me why you're disliking. Just because I'll be amused. Not that I'm going to change. What did I say? I've already used the R word in this broadcast. Earlier today, I used the P word, but not pussy. I'll go ahead and say pussy. I don't care. Deep State says, I'm tired of white people telling us what we need. Sing it. Okay, come on. Oh, God, the YouTube chat is being so slow for me. The 4 dislikes are pussies. Oh, you're killing me, Smalls. Okay, I can catch up on the chat here. I just want to check. Give me a second here, kids. It's getting late. If somebody wants to go to bed, go to bed. At some point, I'll cut this off, and because we're not going to get through this. Okay, moving on.
Night, I could stop that with the people we have in a half an hour if they'd let me do that. But they don't.
What would you do?
Bring in the National Guard. We'd bring it in, and we would stop that within. Well, we did it in Minneapolis. Take a look at Minneapolis.
But how do you stop police killing blacks at 3 times the rate of killing whites?
I can only say this, that the police in this country have done generally a great job. There are crimes, there are problems, and there are chokers. They choke under pressure. I mean, they have 1/4 of a second to make a decision.
I mean, technically, they did choke George Floyd for 9 minutes, and I'm not giving him a ring for that.
And sometimes they make a wrong decision, and that's a terrible.
I'll be honest with you. I can't watch the whole George Floyd tape. I've seen the initial arrest. I've seen him on his stomach. I've seen 3 officers. I can't sit there through the whole 9 minutes. I can't do it as just a human being with visceral responses. I can't.
Terrible thing. The problem is that'll be on the news for 2 weeks or 3 weeks in a row, and the hundreds of thousands and thousands of good acts, nobody talks about.
So you didn't think that's a sign of systemic racism?
No, I think there's problems, but I also think there's some very big problems where if you don't give the police back their authority.
Jesus fuck. Can we address the problem that the question was about? Can we say, yeah, oh yeah, so yeah, we should respect the police. Everybody should be respected. Yes, we get that. All respect matters. Can we address the fact that not just one bad apple in Minneapolis decided they had to kill a black man? Can we address the fact that there were four bad apples all in one location? How did that happen? In the morning, is it like Hill Street Blues where they get, okay, we're looking for a suspect. He's white, 5'11", 425 pounds. He won't be running very fast. And also, are there any racists in the group? Okay, you four, you're a group. You go together. You guys are partners. The other two are partners. Just back them up. They call for backup. 4 bad apples killed George Floyd. The problem is a lot deeper than, 1%. Or as he said before, 99.9% are really good apples. 1 bad apple will ruin the barrel? Now I've totally forgot the expression. Okay, that's the end of the rant because it took me out of it. I think you guys are like several minutes behind me here.
Right now, police are afraid they're going to lose their pension. They're going to lose their job if they talk.
Then find another fucking job.
Talk to somebody in the wrong way. When I watch New York, the New York City police endorse me, and I love them. They're one.
Oh, at random has amazing points, but it's not showing up on my window. Hold on. Yeah, because I put her in timeout. So tired of at random. Question is, at random says, but why do they choke 3 times more with people, black people, than white people? It's an excellent question. Is that the excellent point? What else? Why are you not showing up at random? There you are. Yeah, what's up with that? I see that. 1 bad apple can kill a bunch of black people and white people, for that matter. Cops kill all people. That should be the new chant. Put that on a bumper sticker.
With the New York City. But I watched 6 months ago policemen walking down a street and people were dumping water on their head.
Oh no! Oh no! That's what we need to address. People threw water at police on their heads. Stop it, people. Here's what you want to do. Very simple. Take a piece of chicken, soak it in that water for 2 to 3 hours. Turn on the stove. Little bouillon inside there, some veggies, whatever you've got in the kitchen. Really doesn't matter. Throw some leftovers in there, a little bit of rice. You got yourself a soup. Throw the soup. Do not throw soup at police officers, by the way. I like, there's a lot of cops I like. I know some cops. I can tell you this, there's a cop hockey team called the Bullets. There's cop hockey teams called Bullets all over the place. One of the Bullets on the team in Seattle that we used to play is one of the biggest assholes. Literally, he's like 6'3", 6'4", that I've ever met in my life. Like the dirtiest hockey player you can imagine. And this is co-ed, like just skate around the rink, having fun kind of hockey. This cop was an absolute asshole. But most of the rest of the team didn't do that. So it was okay. So we don't have to address the one guy who tries to cross-check you in the neck when you're taking the face off. Yeah, tell me tomorrow, or just say it again in another way at random.
Absolutely no fear.
Wait, if there's a point that you should let me know about, DM me or something, or message me, or do your thing.
There was no retribution. I thought it was a low point. I thought it was a low point for New York City's finest. And frankly, those cops should have turned around and really done something.
We have another question on this subject from Pastor Carl Day.
Cops are getting wet. Oh, you threw water at me. Is that good? No, that's very bad. Don't throw water on cops. Like I said, soup. Or at least some sort of bouillon. A broth, even. But, and put it in a bag. Your comment had to be approved? I don't know. Hold on. I've got the YouTube chat right here. I want to see what she's talking about. We're never going to get through this, people. I'm looking back. I think I'm missing quite a few responses. I don't know that I'm seeing them or they're not getting through or something. Yeah, apparently water is considered assault. Oh, it was all the rage on Fox News. Yeah, I don't know. I just done with the water and the police officers. I hope this gentleman has a follow-up question.
From Philadelphia voted for Jill Stein last time.
How you doing, Mr. President?
Good.
You've coined the phrase, make America great again.
Right.
When has America been great for African Americans in the ghetto of America? Are you aware of how tone deaf that comes off to African American community?
Well, I can say this. We have tremendous African American support. You've probably seen it in the polls.
He does not. He's currently at 8%. I saw one poll that was as high as 11%. But no, he does not have tremendous support. And on that thought, I got to grab a couple of things and I'll be right back. So talk amongst yourselves and see if the comments get. All right, where were we? I am resupplied temporarily. I like this guy. I like his camo mask because I can't see that he's wearing a mask because it's camo. Okay. Wait, who's sticking up for whom? Is there a fight going on in the chat room? I leave you people alone for 3 minutes and you start rioting. So typical. Okay. What's going on? Is somebody giving, let's see, at random, so strange, thanks for sticking up to me though, and you too, Rich Mac. What was going on? Oh, we're talking about gazpacho. You guys are fighting over gazpacho? All right. You know who did the enforcement for Hitler was the gazpacho. I'm not a fan. Okay, David Williams says, if only just once they would have mentioned the gazpacho soup was served cold, I would have been an admiral by now. Fans of Red Dwarf will understand what he's talking about. I assume Red Dwarf is a character in Doctor Who. Here we go. I wish somebody would throw soup at me, because this is where I am. I took the rest, like the bottom of the chips. Oh, the chips are green. That's weird. That's not good. There, right there. See, there's the bitchin' sauce. And I put the crumbles at the bottom of the chip bag into the bitchin' sauce. Here's the thing. It is a crime to waste bitchin' sauce. Now I'm going to mix it around and eat it cold like a gazpacho. I know what Red Dwarf is. I grew up with Kevin Lee Brother, okay? I am familiar. Here we go.
Extremely well.
Lizzie, that is smart. I knew there was something I liked about you. Had a hell of a time figuring out what it was, but now I know.
With African American, Hispanic American at levels that you've read.
Hold on, is he going to talk about unemployment?
How tone deaf that comes off to African American community.
Well, I can say this. We have tremendous African American support. You've probably seen it in the polls. We're doing extremely well with African American, Hispanic American at levels that you've rarely seen.
He's doing way better with Hispanic Americans than he should be. That's dangerous.
Republican have. If you talk about Make America Great, if you look at just prior to, and I'm talking about for the black community, you look just prior to this horrible situation coming in from China when the virus came in, that was probably the highest point, home ownership for the black community. Home ownership, lower crime, the best jobs they've ever had, highest income, the best employment numbers they've ever had. If you go back and you want to look over many years, you could just go back 6 or 7 months from now. That was the best single moment in the history of the African American people in this country.
It's 8 months ago now. The question was, Make America Great Again. When was America great for African Americans? Because he started saying Make America Great Again back in 2015.
I think, I would say.
Well, I mean, your statement is, though, make it great again. So historically, the African-American experience, especially in these ghettos.
Well, I mean, I guess that applies to going back to January. Make America January again? Make America 1952 for everyone else, but for the blacks, I want to make it January again. I'm waiting for him to say the blacks.
That have been red line, historically, these ghettos that have systemically been set up and treated the way that they have been, the conditions of the drugs, the guns, and everything else that actually created the symptoms for what we see, that you profess to be just the democratic cities in themselves. These things have historically been happening for African Americans in these ghettos, and we have not been seeing a change. Quite frankly, under your administration, under the Obama's administration, under the...
yeah, it's amazing. See, most people aren't like us. Most people don't pay attention. And so if you can get X percentage of a population who's not paying attention, they will believe that Trump is saying the truth. Because as human beings, we're naturally inclined to believe other people. And there is a certain segment of the population will believe anything you say if you say it twice. So you just have to say things twice, and they will believe you. You see? You probably believed me the first time, but this is his technique. This is what he does all the time. And then you repeat it the next time, and then somebody else says it, and enough people say it, and suddenly it's true, regardless of the factual basis of it. I mean, we have him on tape saying he downplayed the virus. And earlier today, he's like, no, I upplayed it. I didn't downplay it. I upplayed it. No, you downplayed it. You downplayed it over and over and over. Anyway, it's a great question, Rodney.
Bush, under the Clinton, the very same things happen and the very same systems and cycles continue to...
Do this. Say it twice and do this with your hands. And then do this for the second time. A lot of this.
They continue to ensue, and we need to
I want to hear this guy. Hold on. We're going to go back.
A change. Quite frankly, under your administration, under the Obama's administration, under the Bush, under the Clinton, the very same things happen and the very same systems and cycles continue to ensue. And we need to see, because you say again, we need to see when was that great, because that pushes us back to a time in which we cannot identify with such greatness. And I mean, you've said everything else about choking and everything else, but you have yet to address and acknowledge that there's been a race problem in America.
So if you go, well, I hope there's not a race problem. I can tell you this.
I'm done. I'm gonna go to sleep right here, because I can't. I'm now paralyzed. Part of my brain is broken. There's no race problem in America? Fucking President Tucker Carlson here. Did he just say that? How is this not, hold on, I'm going to see what's trending on Twitter. I hadn't had time to really look at the Twitters today. Hold on, let me refresh. Let me go home. Let me go to the homepage on Twitter. Trending. Trump says he upplayed COVID-19. Okay, so that's good. That's good to I'm going to show more. Hold on. Looking at the trends. So number one trending thing. I played it up. I upplayed the COVID virus. That's worthy of a trend. That's worthy. Number two, Despacito. That's got to do with the Joe Biden ad. Okay, number three, President Trump addresses police brutality in Philadelphia town hall with undecided voters. No. Number one right now should be President says, what did he say? I don't want to misquote him here. I'm always fair. Go ahead.
Great, because that pushes us back to a time in which we cannot identify with such greatness. And I mean, you've said everything else about choking and everything else, but you have yet to address and acknowledge that there's been a race problem in America.
So if you go, well, I hope there's not a race problem. I can tell you there's none with me, because I have...
Let's make it about him. I hope there's not a race problem. I can say there's none with me. I can honestly say I'm a little bit racist. Like white woman named Karen. What? I mean, no. There are a couple of things that I am racist about. I don't even know. This is because in this area where I live and where I went to high school, tons of Asian. This is a heavily populated Asian area. And it was my Asian friends, because I wasn't even aware of this. I moved here when I was 16. I lived in Africa. I lived in Canada. But it was my Asian friends here who completely convinced me that older Asian drivers have no concept of space and time. And I know that's not the case. It's not exclusively them, but that is one of the... There might be something to it. I know there's nothing to it. I know. But if I was to have something racist, if there was a racist bone in my body, that would be it. Now, that being said, every time I talk to one of my Asian friends about it, they absolutely confirm it 100%. If there's somebody in here who's Asian and disagrees with that, that's fine. You're probably right. And Random says, don't go into that. That's the thing. And my Japanese girlfriend at the time in high school, she came to a stop and then drove directly into a parked car. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Are you all right? Yeah. What was that? She's like, I'm Asian. That was her. She said that, not me. Yeah, I know. I'm a racist. What are you going to do? We all have our prejudice. And I guess if that's mine, so be it. No, but I know a lot of Asians that are great drivers. So no, there's stereotypes, and then there's things you notice because you're made aware of them. For example, and I do not believe that Asians are any worse than any other group of driver. I don't think your race determines how good of a driver you are. It is your astrological sign. And this is true. So I was listening to the NPR several weeks ago. Let me finish up. This is what I'm saying I don't really believe that being Asian makes you any worse of a driver than anybody else. I don't think that's a thing. Who did you delete? Danielle? It doesn't matter. there was a lady, an insurance lady on NPR, and her job is they sold data to insurance companies. And you know how if you live in one zip code, you pay more than if you live in another zip code. You move from one place to another, now you're paying more because it's based on the people in that zip code and how they drive and how many accidents they have. They have this all figured out, right? So there were lots of questions from the NPR lady, and she said, you know, does race really have? She says it's much more about your zip code, about the sociological conditions in the area, what would you call it? What do they call it? I can't remember what they call it, but basically how much money you have. The nicer the neighborhood, but that doesn't really have to do with being better drivers. It has to do with driving less. The people who live in nicer areas tend to drive less. Okay. Probably because if you live in a nicer area, sometimes it's only one person in the family working, so you don't have that extra commute. I don't know. I don't know what the reasons for that are. But they asked her, in all of this research that you've done, because that's her job, that's all she does, 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, because in my mind, she doesn't get a day off. They said, have you found something that surprised you? She says, yeah, you know what is actually the most determinative of how good a driver you are? And like, what? She said, this was really weird. At one point we were talking and joking about it, and we organized the database by astrological sign. And it is the most disparate data point that you can use. They found out that the worst drivers by far, Aries. Can you guys guess the best drivers? And she was able to take, like, the Aries are the worst drivers because Aries are this and this and this. I don't even remember. I don't remember what the Aries were. But Aries, you guys are terrible drivers. That's according to the insurance industry, and they know. Socioeconomic is the word that I was looking for. Thank you, Tinkerballs. The best drivers are who, guys? Let's go back to this channel. Now that we're just completely off on a tangent, let's go back to the president saying, I hope there isn't racism. Scorpio is incorrect. Scorpio, come on. Scorpio. Rich. I'm embarrassed for you, buddy.
Great respect for all races, for everybody.
Aquarius. Oh, please. I do want to hear the exchange. Here's the thing. What the president just said, honestly, I feel it right here. It hurts me that an American president says he hopes there's not racism. Not that he says he hopes there's not racism, that there are Americans that don't realize that there is racism in America. Yeah, that's also true, Eve. In affluent areas, they tend to have closer access to groceries, etc. And they have other people driving for it. Anyway. No, not Virgos. Rich. Leo. Correct. Leo. Why? Because Leos are the most magnanimous. They are the king, and they are magnanimous to their citizens, and they let people go at lights and at four-way stops. No, you go, my subject. Leos. Coincidentally, I'm a Leo. Anyway, that's why I remember that story. Probably getting it wrong. It's probably fucking Scorpios. Fucking Scorpios. Is there somebody who can, what are they called? Moderators? There's a moderator. Can we Scorpio? There's Scorpios. Get them out of here. Anywhere. Hey, happy birthday. Who's having a birthday tomorrow? Happy birthday, Danielle. Somebody else is having a birthday? Everybody say happy birthday to Danielle. This is too important to keep going on with this. Again, 2 hours into the broadcast. We are now 23 minutes into the broadcast, into that broadcast. Yeah, Don Jr. did say something. So, Don Jr.'s speech, all I remember about Don Jr.'s speech, and the best is yet to come! Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday.
This country is great because of it. But when you go back 6 months...
What?
And you take...
Hold on.
Address and acknowledge that there's been a race problem in America.
So if you go, well, I hope there's not a race problem. I can tell you there's none with me, because I have great respect for all races, for everybody. This country is great because of it. But when you go back 6 months and you take a look at what was happening, you can't even compare that with.
So I'm not sure he meant to say that he thinks it's great because he doesn't have a race problem.
Past administrations, when you look at income levels and a lot of things, because of the job situation where they had the lowest income, the best unemployment numbers they've ever had, the black community by far. And that was solving a lot of problems. And you know what else it was? It was bringing people together. I was starting to get, just before this was, you know, we were having a long run of success. I was starting to get calls from Democrats that, hey, it's starting to...
Shut the fuck up. I'm so angry right now, guys. I'm sorry. Rodney, did you hear... I can't even think. I'm literally blinded by rage right now. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. Rodney, did you hear Bob Woodward's discussion with Trump on privilege?
Work. Let's get together. People that you would never have thought this
at random, Aries
would have happened with. There was going to be unity, but unfortunately that was hurt because we got set back. But now, I think next year is going to be one of our best years economically.
But income equality is still happen. But income equality is higher. So I mean, jobs can be produced.
That's correct. Income inequality is higher, although the bottom percentage of the population, socioeconomic population, which includes many minorities. Take that out of the equation. Take the socioeconomic factors out of the equation, because I don't want to just concentrate on socioeconomic factors. You know, I know that word, socioeconomic. Did you know that? I know that word. It's socioeconomic. I'm just watching for. I should go back to the chat here. Take socioeconomics out of the equation, and income inequality has widened. The gap keeps widening all the time for African Americans versus white Americans. Yes, in terms of a percentage, they have gained. The bottom tier has gained during this economic, I won't call it a boom because it was just a continuation of what was happening under Obama and Biden. So during this economic climb, until we started taking a dip again because of Trump's policies. Going back. I love the fact that we're having a conversation here, by the way, the gentleman and Mr. Trump. During that time, how can I explain this? For example, if you're making $10 an hour and you get a 20% raise, now you're making $12 an hour. Woo! And if somebody in the top 10% gets not a 20% raise, but a 10% raise during that time, they're doing way better than you're doing. You're talking $50,000 as opposed to $2 an hour. So the gap keeps widening. And GDP rises faster than pay too. Yeah, inflation, etc. So yeah, it's a complicated. There's all kinds of things you can look at that, but the gentleman's right. The inequality is nothing's helping the inequality. We get paid more and money it's worth less. Yeah, even factored in, things have been pretty good generally for the overall population, and the bottom of the population, in terms of their social economics, has increased at a higher rate than many of the other sections of the population, socioeconomically. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to. I'm fascinated by this.
But at the same time, in a lot of these big major cities where African Americans are underserved, under-resourced, that's an $8 job. Does not mean that they can necessarily afford to live where they have to live or where they've been living at for the last 20 years.
Well,
I don't think he needs me. I think I'm just going to play him. Good night, everybody. I'm just going to let this gentleman have the floor. I love him.
Income inequality.
Oh, Linda's here, everybody. We can start the show. We've been dragging through this, Linda. We're at 29 minutes of a 90-minute show, specifically because you weren't here.
The income inequality was phenomenal.
Oh, God.
not mean that they can necessarily afford to live where they have to live or where they've been living at for the last 20
Is he going to blame Obama? He's going to go for the black guy?
years.
Well, the income inequality, which I agree with you, is a problem. I always agreed with that. But if you look under President Obama and Biden, the income inequality was phenomenal. It was record-setting. It was.
It's
terrible.
getting worse now.
Well, we're talking about a plague coming in. Before the plague, we were doing very well. Now we will.
Before the plague, it was getting worse.
We'll soon be doing well again because we're going to have a fantastic third quarter. You're seeing the numbers come in. I think you're going to have a GDP that's mid-20s and maybe much higher. Somebody said 30.
It's income inequality. Can we go back to income inequality?
5. I don't know. These are all records we're talking about, and you're going to have a very good economic.
Wait, what's that? Joshua? Tim Scott, Senator Tim Scott is hassled by the cops. Senator Tim Scott was accosted in the Senate building. So yeah, I mean, in terms of black celebrities, the black senator from the Republicans.
Economically, you're going to have a very good year next year, but I agree.
Do we know Joshua Benjamin? Is he new here? Welcome, Joshua. If you want to contribute to the conversation, fine, but don't say things like that because that's just not. Identify as a homeless protester since both are immune to coronavirus. No one is immune to coronavirus. Joshua, seriously, try and say things that make a little bit of sense or are funny. That's what we try and do here.
I agree with a lot of the things you say, but you have to look back because we really had it going well. Had we not been hit by this horrible disease that came
and the income inequality, that's what we were talking about?
Came into our land and all over the world.
Oh, he'll probably talk about the stock market, Rodney. He always does.
By the way, came all.
Yeah, well, you know, with the blacks, we got the record stock market.
All over the world, we would be in a position where I think income inequality would be different. It was really getting there. We were really.
No, it was getting worse. George, say something.
Mr. President, we have to move on. But even before the pandemic, the average black family was earning half of what the average white family was earning, even if you hold education
You're
constant.
right. I can only compare it to the past. The African American, the black community was doing better than it had ever done by far, both in terms of unemployment, home ownership, so many different statistics.
Joshua, seriously, that's just a stupid thing to say. And you guessed wrong. So try and do better with your guesses, please. R. Kelly. So any big R. Kelly defenders in the room? Go ahead and have a conversation with Josh there. Seriously, dude, you're not coming across well here. We appreciate all viewpoints here, but you're just like we have discussions in here all the time with people who support Trump or the Republicans or the Whig Party. Like we don't care. We're open to all discussions, but you're just saying stupid things. So say smart things to support your viewpoints. That's all we ask.
Even in terms of
But there was still a gap between blacks and whites.
I mean, there was a gap, but we were doing a good job. It was getting better. And then it was...
No, it wasn't. Even with the unemployment, black rate was still twice as high as whites. Twice as high, the unemployment rate.
Artificially shut down by this disease.
Okay, somebody block Joshua Benjamin. No, there are no rape supporters here, Joshua. Stop being a fucking idiot. Give him a timeout. We're going to give you a timeout, Benjamin. And if you can start saying things that aren't absolutely insanely stupid, you can come back. Otherwise, we'll get you out of here.
That came onto our land.
We've got to take another break. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we're going to take a break. We'll give Joshua a break.
Being called the
employers that whether
Oh, here we go.
their businesses.
No one is more excited for the new season of Jeopardy than contestant Kelly.
Oh, yay! Oh.
She's so pumped.
Is she not from SNL? Don't we know her, that contestant Kelly?
I worry about a second or third wave of unemployment.
Hold on, let's find out who this
Tomorrow
is.
night at 7 from ABC 7.
In this election. And the next question comes from Leah Schwartzer of Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Hello.
I think these are all undecided voters, if I understood correctly, but I don't know for sure.
Hi.
I worry about a second or third wave of unemployment. Employers that weathered the first 6 months of COVID-19 are now seeing their businesses dramatically impacted due to the effect of this virus on our economy.
Yeah.
What is the president? Is your plan to aid these workers who may not lose their jobs today, but in the months to come?
Well, as you know, we did paycheck, but we're doing a lot of other things. But what I want to do is see some additional stimulus.
We're not doing anything else. I mean, we don't. Anyway.
And we're trying to get it, and we may. I mean, we just before I came here, we had some pretty good talks with the Democrats. We'll see.
So we don't know what he's saying because he said we did paycheck. Is he talking about the Paycheck Protection Plan? Is he talking about deferring the payroll tax? We don't know. Why don't we know? Because he's a fucking moron. That's why we don't know. He doesn't know how to use the words, even though he's got the best ones. He's very reserved with those best words, so he doesn't want to waste them.
But they've been very difficult.
Why not call the speaker down to your office, hammer it out in the
Because they know exactly where I stand. At the right time, I'll do that. But they know exactly where I stand. What they want is a bailout of Democrats.
Didn't answer the question. Oh, at the right time. No, why not do it now? Why isn't it the right time now? Come on, George. I know you, George. You're better than this.
Run states that are doing poorly. And, you know, I don't think this is the right way.
There's nothing in the HEROES Act. And I've been reading more and more. Seriously, guys, like in my spare time, I start reading through the HEROES Act, which is never going to become effectual anyway. I can't even get a haircut. I don't know that we're going to see more town halls. Like at this point, even this far into it, all I know is that I hope there's not racism.
Keep talking about Democrat states and Democrat states. They're American states. No.
Anyway, there's nothing in the HEROES Act that says anything about blue states, red states, that differentiates. Okay, now, the following states will get blah, 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 blah. But once again, these are all of the states that don't have a mask mandate. The Democratic ones are in blue. States without a mask mandate.
American Democrat-run states are the ones that are doing badly, George. If you look at New York, if you look at Illinois, if you look at a lot of different places, they're doing poorly. And cities, in particular cities. I mean, these cities are being run so poorly.
But don't you have a responsibility for those states and cities as well?
Debt, but largely because...
And most of the hospitals that have gone bankrupt are in rural areas. And part of the HEROES Act allows the hospitals that have gone bankrupt to get the PPP. Because they can't pay their employees. And where are these hospitals? They're in rural America. And who do the rural Americans vote for? They vote for the Republicans.
Of the crime. They don't want to do anything about crime. Sanctuary cities, they have sanctuary cities where they're protecting criminals. They have things that the Republicans don't have. So they are. I mean, I don't want to say, look, I'm the president of everybody. But I don't want to say it, but they're Democrat-run cities. It is what it is.
So will you...
You don't want to say it, but you've said it. I don't know, probably 500 times by now.
Be calling the speaker in, can you hammer out a deal?
At the right time, yes. I would like to see additional...
Now would be great. Now, when the $600 gone away and the PPP has run out, now would be a really great time to be the right time to talk to the speaker.
Stimulus for people that really, it wasn't their fault, wasn't your fault, wasn't anybody's fault. It was China's fault. I don't care how you want to define it. This was China's fault, and our people shouldn't be hurt.
And I wish this lady, and I hope this lady does say this, because maybe there'll be a conversation here. Look, you sound like a 5-year-old. One of my kids will say, well, it was so-and-so's fault, and he brought the cat into the house. And I would say, hey, well, that doesn't mean that you can put the cat into the dryer. Do you see what I'm saying here?
And we should do stimulus. We did a lot of it initially, and now they stopped because they think it's going to be better for the election.
Okay, so it was the Chinese fault that the virus came here. When are you going to become a leader? When can you do that? And I don't mean a good leader, the kind that lies to his people. When are you going to be honest with Americans, stop lying, and take a real leadership role so that lives are saved?
I don't know. They say if you'll come up, they said they'll meet you halfway on the money.
Well, we can do something maybe, but I'm just hearing for the first time about an hour ago that maybe there is a chance to get something, and I'd like to do it. I would like to see it happen, George.
Next question's on health care. It comes from Alicia Block. She's from Philadelphia, an assistant professor who voted for Hillary Clinton last time.
Hi. Mr. President. I was born with a disease called sarcoidosis. And from the day I was born,
I don't know what that is. I really like the way it sounds. It sounds like a Greek dessert, quite frankly. Shall we? You know what? If I have some sarcoidosis, will you? I don't want to make fun. I don't know. It could be a terrible thing. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It just sounds delicious. Rodney says, wait, aren't the South where most with low-income people are? He's willing to sacrifice them for his ego? Yeah, it's not just... The Republicans are all about this money for the blue states. It's the money for all the states. And yeah, there are poor people. There are low-income people. There are people in terrible socioeconomic situations in all the states. New York does not have a monopoly on that. She's trying to... Wow, you guys have suddenly caught up with the chat room. At random, she probably is trying to tell me what it is. I just like that. You know who you guys should watch if you got the Apple TV? Hold on, let's go back here, and then I'll be reminded of it.
Healthcare comes.
Anyway, Jason Sarcoidosis has his own show. I forget the name of it, but it's on Apple TV. It's very funny. Go check it out.
From Alicia Block. She's from Philly.
Sarcoidosis, according to Lizzie, the growth of tiny collections of inflammatory cells in different parts of the body. The growths most commonly occur in lungs, lymph nodes, eyes, and cancer. So it's like a reoccurring, or skin, like a reoccurring cancer all over the place.
Philadelphia, an assistant professor who voted for Hillary Clinton last time.
Hi. Mr. President. I was born with a disease called sarcoidosis. And from the day I was born, I was considered uninsurable. That disease started in my skin, moved to my eyes, into my optic nerves, and when I went to graduate school, into my brain. When it hit my brain, I was automatically eligible for disability for the rest of my life. I chose instead to get a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD, and become a professor.
Yes!
It is great, except I still have similar health care problems. It costs me, with co-pays, I'm still paying almost $7,000 a year in addition to the co-pay, and should pre-existing conditions which Obamacare brought to fruition be removed?
No.
Please stop and let me finish my question, sir. Should that be removed within a 36 to 72-hour period without my medication, I will be dead. And I want to know what it is that you're going to do to assure that people like me who work hard, we do everything we're supposed to do, can stay insured. It's not my fault that I was born with this disease. It's not my fault that I'm a black woman and in the medical community I'm minimized and not taken seriously. I want to know what you are going to do about that.
So, first of all, I hope you are taken seriously. I hope you are. And we are not going to hurt anything.
Okay, and you also hope there's not racism. But reality doesn't care what you hope. Remember, we're talking about healthcare. This is George and Trump last June.
We're going to produce phenomenal healthcare. And we already have the concept of the plan. And it'll be much better healthcare.
Tell people what the plan is?
Yeah, well, we'll be announcing that in about 2 months. Maybe less.
So announcing in 2 months, so September. This is Trump in August.
We'll be doing sometime during this month the healthcare plan, and I think that'll be before the end of the month, and I think it'll be very impressive to a lot of people.
So that was August. So tremendous healthcare by August. You know what? I've stopped even taking notes, guys. Hold on. I'm so. U.S. President said, "I hope there's not racism." How do you not know whether there is or isn't racism by this point? Does he? Good. I should let things finish and then share, because here's the thing though, the team didn't even put up the chart that at the beginning when George was showing a chart, that they didn't even show us what chart he was showing. Oh yeah.
Having to do with pre-existing conditions, we're not going to hurt pre-existing conditions, and in fact just the opposite. If you look at what they want to do, where they have socialized medicine, they will get rid of pre-existing conditions. If they
That's not true. That's not true in the least.
Go into Medicare for All, which is socialized medicine, and you can forget about your doctors and your plans, just like you could forget under President Obama. He said you can have your doctor, you can have your plan, and that turned out to be a lie. And he said it 28 different times, at least. We have 28 different times. You can have your doctor, you can have your plan. Well,
oh no, he told us a mistruth 28 times. How dare he?
Well, it's not true. But what we're doing is we're going to be doing a health care plan, pre-existing, protecting people with pre-existing conditions. As an example, yourself, it sounds like that's exactly perfect. That's exactly what we're talking about. We're going to be doing a health care plan very strongly and protect people with pre-existing.
As long as they're doing it strongly. I like people looking at things strongly. I like when Putin says things strongly, when he denies attacking the American election strongly. And I've really been looking for a strongly health plan.
Conditions. I will say this, they will not do that because they have socialized.
They have already done it. Obamacare has pre-existing conditions as part of the mandate.
Stop you there. I just have to stop you there because it's just on a couple of points. Number one.
Oh, yay. Maybe this is where he does it. Here we go. Go, George. Go, George. Go, George.
Joe Biden has ran against Medicare for All in the primaries. But
go, Georgie. It's Daniela's birthday. Go, Georgie. It's Daniela's birthday.
Much more importantly, Obamacare guaranteed people with pre-existing conditions.
God bless you, Rich.
Could buy insurance.
Okay. Yeah, it was the truth when he told it, but Republicans made a compromise to not require all providers to accept public option. Yes, the thing is that Obama should not have said it, but people were worried that they were going to lose their doctor, and there are some people who, they're keeping their same doctor is very important to some people. I get that. That's fine. The thing is, before Obamacare, I could not get insurance because I had pre-existing conditions. Now I have like 5 pre-existing conditions, and I'd be out of luck.
Guaranteed they could buy it as the same price as everyone else. Guaranteed a package of essential benefits. Guaranteed that insurance companies couldn't put a lifetime limit on those benefits. You fought to repeal Obamacare. You are arguing.
Well, I essentially did.
You're arguing in the Supreme Court right now to strike it down.
Yep.
That would do away with pre-existing conditions.
So that we can do new health care.
But you've been promising a new health care plan.
No, there's no reason that they can't do new health care with Obamacare in place. There's zero reason. That has nothing to do with the Supreme Court.
And I interviewed you in June of last year. You said the health care plan would come in 2 weeks. You told Chris Wallace that this summer it would come in 3 weeks. You promised an executive
2 weeks.
I have it already.
But you've been trying to strike down pre-existing conditions.
I have it already, and it's a much better plan for you, and it's a much better plan. And
what is it?
You say Obamacare, I got rid of the
If you have it already, why haven't you shared us? I can't even speak English. I can't even. You said the end of August. You said 2 weeks to Chris Wallace. You said last September. If you have it, let us have it. If you've got tremendous health care, you know what? I will vote. No, I will never vote for him. But come on. What is holding you up? You want to win the election? Announce the fantastic health care.
Individual mandate.
And remember, no, he doesn't have it because you know what? It has to get passed by the House and the Senate.
Which is the worst part of Obamacare.
You're striking down the whole law.
Wouldn't pertain to you, but it pertained to a lot of people where they were going literally bust because they didn't want to have health insurance and they were paying for it anyway, and it was no.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That lady above you with the sarcoidosis, she does want to have health insurance. She really, she'll die. She will die in 48 hours if she doesn't have the health insurance. So, to the 22-year-old with no pre-existing conditions, yay! They don't have to buy insurance anymore. They don't have to take any personal responsibility. But this lady's going to die.
Good. Obamacare was a disaster. Obamacare is too expensive. The premiums are too...
Can I just say Obamacare for me has not been on a disaster. It has saved my life. I'll tell you that story sometime.
High. It's a total disaster. You're going to have new health care, and the pre-existing condition aspect of it will always be in my plan, and I've said that loud and clear.
But you haven't come up.
Oh, you said you already had it. Why did you say always be? Why didn't you say is in my plan? Because if you have it, that's present tense. So no, he doesn't have it.
With it. And we got rid of the individual mandate, which essentially ended Obamacare. And I had a decision.
Only because you're arguing for
George,
it.
I had a decision.
Obamacare's been good for all. I mean, let's be honest with each other. We're all a bunch of shut-ins. Do you like my wheelchair? Hey, see you later, Sunset Black. Thanks for coming by. It's getting late, guys. It's almost midnight on the West Coast. If you're on the East Coast, go to bed. You know what? I'm just gonna keep going until I get tired.
Do I run? We gutted out the worst parts of Obamacare. Now,
hold on.
You haven't come up with it.
And we got rid of the individual mandate, which essentially ended Obamacare. And I had a decision.
It didn't essentially end Obamacare. It ended the individual mandate.
Only because you're arguing for
George,
it.
I had a decision to make. Do I run? We gutted out the worst parts of Obamacare. Now I have to make this decision. This is 3 years ago. Do we run Obamacare well and do a good job and do the best, even though it's never going to be very good? Or do we let it run badly? Probably letting it run badly would have been a better political decision, but I couldn't do that. We have run it so much better than Obama ran it. Now, it's not the same because I got...
You took out the individual mandate.
Rid of the most unpopular thing and a very unfair thing.
You're trying to strike down the whole law.
Yeah, you're in court right now. Your Department of Justice is in court right now trying to get rid of Obamacare.
We have run it really well, but we also have now other, if you go Department of Labor, our great secretary, as you know, and you know him well.
That would be Scalia.
We have other alternatives to Obamacare that are 50% less expensive and that are actually better.
It's been 3.5 years.
Okay, so he has what he call these association health plans, which are basically stripped down health plans that don't really help anybody. And they put these out there because they're like, oh, we've got these really cheap, we fixed it. We've got all these really cheap health plans. Here's the thing, nobody's buying them. I had catastrophic insurance before Obamacare. I got sick. I was in the hospital without surgery for 4 days, $23,000 out of my pocket. And I had insurance. That's the kind of plan that Trump has put out, which was made illegal originally under Obamacare. Trump changed that, so he brought out all these plans. But healthcare costs haven't come down for everyone because nobody's buying those plans because they're bullshit.
George, it's been 40 years since you...
Joshua, no one is defending the felonies committed by the protests. If people are doing illegal things, they shouldn't be doing those. What? Why do you keep asking insanely stupid questions? Joshua's going to get another timeout here. Hold on. I'll do this myself. I got to wait for it. The chat's way behind. If there's a moderator in here, somebody give him a timeout again. Give him a longer timeout. Joshua, I think you get 2 timeouts and then you get kicked out. But just don't ask stupid questions. Here's the thing. All of us are against violence, any kind of violence from anybody. All of us are against racism, any kind of racism from anybody. All of us don't like bad things. None of us are here to endorse bad things. You will not find someone in here defending Bill Cosby. Chuck, your is spelled Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. It's 2 words. You are. Oh, you are authoritarian. Do you see what I'm saying? I'll slow it down for you. So that's called a contraction. When you have 2 words, you and are, you put them together, get rid of the A, and in order to replace the A, you have to put an apostrophe, a sky comma. Okay? The comma that goes up top, above, that's an apostrophe. And you have to put that into the word and write it out as your. So, for example, it is, you get rid of the second I and you put a sky comma there, and then that's how you do a contraction. Okay, Chuck, you're asking me, you're authoritarian. Okay, so you know what? I don't want to, obviously English is your second language. I don't want to make fun of you for that. If I have, Trump is my authoritarian, really. I mean, if we're talking about Trump, then I'm totally misinterpreting. Again, English as a second language is I respect that. Let's move on. I'm not sure that I can help Chuck. Obviously, you didn't grow up in the States.
Had good health care. Never really had good health care in this country. This country has never had it. But when you say that Biden doesn't want to do it, everybody else does. Bernie does. He agreed to the manifesto.
Okay, Bernie's not running against you.
I call it. The agreement with Bernie is that you're going to go to socialized medicine.
He ran against
If you go to socialized medicine, well, he agreed. And Harris, who he today said Harris Biden because he thinks she's president, Harris.
Again, Chuck, great example. I am. You get rid of the A, you put in the sky comma. Yeah, okay. But again, obviously you didn't grow up here, so I feel badly. I apologize. I apologize publicly to you. Chuck does history.
Someday you'll have to explain that one to me. But Harris is all for doing that. She wants to go to socialized medicine. So you no longer have your doctor really, and you no longer have your plan. And Joe can say all he wants. He's only doing it because he sees his poll numbers going down so substantially. But Joe can say all he wants about health care. Obamacare.
Yes, he can, because he was there for Obamacare. That's Joe's thing. He got the votes for Obamacare, so he can say all he wants about healthcare. Meanwhile, you're trying to knock out pre-existing conditions in the Supreme Court, and you've got this magical fairy plan that you can't produce. I don't know. Maybe you're under audit, and your lawyers won't let you produce it.
Has been a failure from day one. It's too expensive, whether it's the premium or whether it's the cost generally, and they don't have their doctors.
Chuck, it's I win, period, by, comma, guys.
And they don't have their plans. We're going to have a very good health care. I think maybe a great.
We're going to have a very good health care. Again, you said you have it. Why are you now talking in the future tense?
Health care for less money.
Got to take another break. We'll be right back.
Just better health care, less money. That's just how it's going to be. Hey, look at this, kids. We're at, this is where the long commercial breaks, now that they've got you hooked. Coming up, Trump says he hopes there's not racism. We're coming up on 50 minutes here already. Go ahead.
The President and the People, a special edition of 2020. Here again, George Stephanopoulos.
Welcome back to our town hall with President Trump. Mr. President, thank you for being here. The next question comes from Jim Raudeski. He's from Irwin, Pennsylvania. That's around Pittsburgh. And you voted for President Trump last time around.
Hi, Jim.
Hi. At times, some have called your behavior not presidential. What, if anything, would you do differently if reelected to create a more unified message where all sides can take responsibilities for their actions and come together to make positive change?
Good, Jim.
Well, I think I have done that. Yeah.
So, I'm fighting a battle. It's a big battlefield, and I have a lot of forces against me. I have the media, which I call the fake news because a lot of it is fake. And I mean as you understand. A lot of it is fake. I'm fighting a lot of forces. Sometimes you don't have time to be totally, as you would say, presidential. You have to get things done. I think I've done more than any other
just maybe not making up nicknames for your opponents or calling them stupid. Maybe that.
In the first 3.5 years. When you look at what we've done for tax cuts and regulation cuts and the vets, all of the things that we've done for the vets, we have a 91% approval factor now for the vets. So we rebuilt our military. We created Space Force. I mean, we did so many things. Right to Try, which is so incredible and so successful. You know what Right to Try is? We did more, I really believe it, more than any other president in the first 3.5 years. By the way, at the end of my first term, we're going to have close to 300, maybe over 300 new federal judges, including Court of Appeal, 2 Supreme Court judges.
I think he's at 210. There's not enough vacancies to even get to 300. And, of course, the Senate has to approve everybody. So he's not going to get to 300.
Justices. And honestly, we move very fast. And I have to get rid of people fast because they're not doing their job. I could tell you people that weren't doing their job. And when I do that, to get somebody else that is good, and if they don't do it, we get rid of that person. We do a lot of things, and we have to get them done. I could be so I always used to sort of kid on the campaign trail that I...
Presidential except for Abraham Lincoln when he's wearing his hat.
Could be trail that I could be more presidential, it would be very easy, more presidential than any other candidate except for possibly Abraham Lincoln when he's wearing the hat, right?
Abraham Lincoln is not a candidate.
The high hat. But the fact is, being presidential is easier than what I have to do. But I get things done. I get things done like nobody's ever gotten. When you look at, including environmental things, when you look at what's going on in the country and all that we've done, we unfortunately got hit by this plague, but it's going to be back very soon. We opened it up, and
it's like I was telling you guys months ago, this plague is a godsend for Trump. I want to go back. Anyway.
We have, you know, you talk, Jim, about the V. We have a super V. It looks like it's going to be a super V. We're going to have a...
And Jim nods. Can someone please just whisper to Jim, super V is not a thing? That Trump just made that up. It's literally not a thing. It's like TDS. Doesn't exist.
Great economy next year. And I think we're going to have a great economy in the third quarter. And thank you for voting for me in 2016. I hope you're going to do it again.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You talk about a super V, Mr. President. A lot of people look at this and say it's more like a K-shaped recovery. The people at the top who have a...
No, that's not the question. Just say, the question should be just, what, like if it was Jonathan Rose there, he would say, what is a super V? What does that mean?
A lot of stocks are doing pretty well. But you've only gotten half the jobs back.
George, stocks are owned by everybody. I mean, you know...
That's not true. Half of Americans don't own stocks. 10% of Americans own 80% of the stock. Stocks are an avenue of the wealthy. Yes, 50% of Americans do own stocks, but all the people do not own stocks. It's not even close.
They talk about the stock market is so good. That's 401ks. I'm meeting people with, as long as they didn't sell when the market went down, when we first realized the extent of this horrible thing from China. I mean, these people are doing, some of them are doing better than they were doing before the pandemic.
They should have sold immediately when the market went down. Then they could buy when it was low.
Pandemic came.
Super villain. That's good, Rodney. That's the super V, super villain.
If people held on to their stocks, and remember this because I notice you say wealthy, sure, wealthy, but you have people that aren't wealthy but have done well because of the stock market. I've set records on the stock market even during the pandemic, and that doesn't happen by accident.
No, if people had held on to their stocks, they wouldn't even be back to where they were. Unless they held NASDAQ and exclusively NASDAQ. The Dow is still down. Let me just, oh, hey, look at this. I've got, interesting. This is Biden. I was watching this the other day. Let me show you this. This is just a complete offset to what we're talking about right now. But this is Biden at the DNC. I think this is when he was calling for mask mandates. But this is, let's see.
We'll put politics aside. We'll take the muzzle off our experts so the public gets the information they need and deserve. Honest, unvarnished truth. They can handle it. We'll have a national mandate to wear a mask, not as a burden, but
yeah, so the point there I wanted to say is, Joe Biden says that he would tell the American people the truth because they can handle it. Meanwhile, President Chuckles over here is saying, like, oh, I don't want panic. The American people would panic. Nobody else on the planet panicked. But for some reason, Trump thinks that Americans would panic, so he has to lead them by deceiving them. That's good leadership.
I will tell you this.
Oh, hold on. We were talking about stocks. Hold on. Jesus Christ, you guys. Let's see where the Dow is right now. Let me go to the Dow Jones. It is still much lower than it's still 1,500 down for the year. So if he tells you that you're much better off, you are not.
If Joe Biden ever got this position, and that's a headwind on the stock market, our stock market would be much higher if it weren't for that. If Joe Biden ever got in, I think you'd have a depression the likes of which we've never seen in this country. If you look at
when Joe Biden was vice president, stock tripled.
His policies where he wants to raise everybody's taxes. You look at what he wants to do in terms of...
Yeah, it's heavy tech stocks that are doing well. The rest of the market is not doing well at all. So stocks of companies where, for example, Zoom, or stocks that allow you to work from home, Microsoft, etc., those stocks are doing all right.
Regulation, where he wants to put all of the regulations back on that I took off.
I know, Danielle. Oh, well.
And then some. And in many cases, double it up. You will have a depression the likes of which we haven't seen in this country. And
Yeah, some people did panic, but we survived. And if panicking means buying toilet paper, I'm okay with that kind of panic.
That doesn't affect big people. It affects everybody. It affects a person that owns $10,000
Big
worth
people.
Of, and then some. And in many cases, double it up. You will have a depression, the likes of which we haven't seen in this country. And that doesn't affect big people. It affects everybody. It affects a person that owns $10,000 worth of stock in IBM or whatever company it may be. Look, we're having a tremendous thing in the stock market, and that's good for everybody. But people that aren't rich own stock, and they have 401ks. You take a look at the 401ks. They're, in many cases, better than...
Half the country right now is like, I don't have $10,000 worth of stock. He thinks $10,000 is just a little bit of stock.
They were before the pandemic came.
Next question comes from Alexander Stamen from Pittsburgh. Sat out the last presidential election, I believe.
Unfortunately, so I did. Good evening, Mr. President. So I'd like to ask regarding your recent comments about our United States soldiers and referring to them as suckers.
Could you say that again?
Our United States soldiers, referring to them as suckers, and particularly the late John McCain, our prisoners of war, as losers.
Okay. It was a fake statement.
And
go ahead.
Recently requesting to ban amputee veterans from a military parade. How do you expect to win back the support of our military, their families, their friends, and military supporters?
It's easy, because I never made those statements. They were never made by me. They said I stood over the grave of soldiers killed many years ago, and I said they were suckers. I never made that. Do you know we had 26 people as of today come out to say it never happened, and many people were there? Then they said about the rain didn't happen, and that wasn't the reason. The Secret Service said, we have a statement from them, they said that we could not travel because the helicopter couldn't be used. We would not be able to travel, because when you do that through a major city, it takes them days to get it prepared. I wanted to go anyway. I said, let me just go separately in a car in disguise. I don't care. I wanted to be there so badly. But the statements never happened. They were lies. As far as John McCain, I was never a fan of John McCain. I never thought he treated our vets well. He didn't do the job. I was never a fan of his. And I think that's fine, and everybody knows that. And I said it.
Night, Rodney. Thanks for coming by.
To his face. I was very much up on that. But as far as
not a war hero,
I have done so much for. I never thought he treated our vets well. He didn't do the job. I was never a fan of his. And I think that's fine, and everybody knows that. And I said it to his face. I was very much up on that. But as far as
not a war hero,
I have done so much for our vets and for our military. I rebuilt our military. Our military, when I came into this great office, our military was depleted. It was in the worst shape it was in probably ever. It was depleted. The planes were old and broken, the ships, everything. You see what I've done. I've rebuilt $2.5 trillion. And you think that was easy getting that money from Democrats? Because they don't like the military. This magazine came up. They made up this quote. It was a made-up quote. And, you know, the gloves are off with Biden, who I've never respected greatly. I've never respected him.
David, couple of quick notes. The military is now 12% smaller under Trump than it was at Obama's peak. And the first 2 years Trump was in office, actually the numbers were lower. Obama gave the military $700 billion as well. So this whole depleted story makes no sense whatsoever. The American military was the American military. I mean, we were the strongest military in the world by many, many factors before Trump came into office. And yes, he has allocated funds for them, but he also stole money from the military to build his wall. I'll show you. Kind of slips up and tells us that here, but I want to show you this before we move on. Because Trump's projects are more important to him than the military. Remember, he didn't serve in the military. He dodged the draft with bone spurs. And when asked about his bone spur, he couldn't even remember what leg they were in. This is Trump admitting that he stole money from the military families specifically to build the wall.
I got money for everything, but when it came to the wall, not 10 cents. Not 10 cents. But we gave the military a lot of money, and we took it from the military, and we took it from here, we took it from there, and we had to go to court.
Yeah, he took money from the military to build the wall. Billions of dollars. I think it was $3.5 billion by that time. But yeah, no, he doesn't care about the military. He cares about himself. He never served in the military. Don Jr. never served in the military. Eric never served in the military. Biden had 2 sons who served in the military. Obama didn't destroy the Navy. We had a Navy. We still have a Navy. David, are you Navy? Do you have any knowledge of this?
Greatly, but when they took
somebody in here's Navy, weren't they? Lizzie, were you Navy? Somebody was Navy. I know we've got a Navy vet in here.
This made-up quote.
David, if you have some stats, bring the stats in. Send us a link. Yeah, thank you, Lizzie. Lizzie is a Navy vet, David, and she's attesting that, in fact, Obama did not destroy the Navy, and she was in it. So, you know, you're going to have to do better than that, David Amond.
That was now knocked out by over 25 people, and they made an ad out of it. I thought it was a disgrace. Do you know what disinformation is? That's what it was. They made up a phony quote, and then they went with it. It was a phony deal, and the one who started it was a big friend of President Obama and Clinton, and it was a phony deal from a not very successful magazine.
Mr. President, you have used language like that in the past. You did say that John McCain wasn't a war hero, and notably silent in the wake of this article were General John Kelly, who was your chief of staff at the time. General James Mattis, who served as defense secretary for you, has said you're...
They didn't hear me say that.
Has said you're... Well, I'm getting to a broader point.
Because I never said
with the generals. General Mattis said you're a divider, you're not trying to...
Hold on.
Kelly, who was your chief of staff at the time, General James Mattis, who served as defense secretary for you, has said you're...
They didn't hear me say that.
Has said you're... Well, I'm getting to a broader point.
Because I never said
with the generals. General Mattis said you're a divider, you're not trying to unite the country. General Kelly said he agreed with that. John Bolton, who was your national security advisor, said you are a danger to the country. The people in these top military positions who serve most closely with you have said you're unfit for office. How do you respond to that?
These are people that I let go. These are disgruntled former employees, to put it in a nice way. With some,
I know when I've been fired, I often tell everyone that that person who fired me is a danger to the country.
And people would understand. Mattis was a highly overrated general, didn't do the job, didn't do good on ISIS. I took over 100% of the ISIS caliphate.
How many stars do you have to have before they figure out that you're overrated?
I had the people that I wanted in. Mattis was fired, as you know, by President...
Didn't Mattis run like CENTCOM? Didn't he run like the entire Southern Command? Wasn't he in charge of... I don't even know. I'm not going to go into the history of Mattis right now, but for him to attack Mattis just shows a general lack of respect for service.
President Obama, and I fired him also.
He says he resigned.
He didn't resign. I said, give me a letter. No more. Give me a letter. I was being nice. One of the problems when you're nice, oftentimes it comes back to hit.
God, there's been so many that I don't even remember specifically what the situation with Mattis was. Didn't Mattis write a letter chastising Trump because of allies, because of the way... I could be wrong here. There's been so many.
I said, Jim, give me a letter. It's time for you to move on. He gave me a letter, but I fired him. That's called, I fired him. Now...
Is that what that's called? No one calls it that.
General Mattis didn't do the job. I wasn't happy with him. If you look at John Bolton, all he wanted to do is blow people up. He wanted to go to war with everybody. And frankly, I used him very nicely. I bring him into a room in a negotiation. When people saw them, they said, oh, wow, he's going to go to war. I'm bringing our troops back from Afghanistan. I'm bringing our troops back from Iraq. We're almost out of almost every place. You know, everybody said because of...
We are not. I mean, he could just pull everybody out if he wanted to. He's the president.
My personality, they said he'll be in a war immediately. Look at North Korea, how that's worked out. We haven't, the sanctions are on, everything's the same. We haven't spent anything.
Yeah, I caught that, Lizzie. I used John Bolton as a deterrent is what he's saying.
We're getting along with them. I get along with Kim Jong-un. That was supposed to be a war. If President Obama were president, if Hillary Clinton never got in, that would be a war. We would have a war, probably a nuclear war with North Korea. In the meantime, I'm getting calls all the time from friends of mine in South Korea. Thank you. We love you. Thank you. It's really been rather amazing. So instead of wars...
Which friends in South Korea are these?
Everybody said, look at what we had today with the United Arab Emirates and UAE, and just take a look at what happened with Israel today. With that, take a look at what's going on. That was going to be a problem. We're actually creating peace in the Middle East without blood staining our sand. But look at what happened with...
Now it's our sand, because it was sand in the Middle East. It has been with that metaphor up until now, but I didn't realize that our sand was going to be stained with blood.
Jim Mattis. George, look at today what happened with Bahrain. Look at what... Well, a guy like Jim Mattis would have disagreed with the way I went about it, and I've turned out to be correct. Tom Friedman of the New York Times wrote incredible, glowing articles last week about this incredible thing that I've been able to do in the Middle East. A guy like Jim Mattis...
It's like a month ago that happened.
Could have never done it because they were all doing it the old-fashioned way. They were going in the wrong outlets and the wrong doors. And what happened today with UAE and with Bahrain and with Israel, people don't even believe it. And George, as sure as you're sitting there, I have numerous other countries in that region that are going to be signing very soon also. You'll have peace in the Middle East. And this is without war and without losing, and I'm talking about on both sides, but without losing our great young soldiers. You know, I go to Dover and I greet oftentimes soldiers coming in and they're dead. And there's no sadder thing than to sit with...
He's been to Dover 4 times during his presidency.
A widow or a mother, and watch these big, massive cargo planes, and that back opens up, and these incredible Marines are walking off a casket, and they were killed in the Middle East. And in many ways, nobody even knows why. Going there was the worst decision in the history of our country. We've spent $8 trillion, and we've lost... thousands of lives, but really millions of lives, because I view both sides, okay, if that's okay. Millions of lives. This was the worst decision. And by the way, Iraq did not Saddam Hussein did not knock down the World Trade Center, in case you don't know, and I'm sure you do know that. They said they had weapons of mass destruction. They made a mistake. So we're now $8 trillion. We've been in there for 20 years, almost 20 years. In Afghanistan, I guess it's getting very close to that. It's over 19. And we're bringing our soldiers back home. Nobody expected that from me. And people are so happy about it. And you know who's the happiest of soldiers? I see them all the time.
No, that's not true at all. During the campaign in 2015 and 2016, he repeatedly said he was going to pull the soldiers out of Iraq and Afghanistan. Everyone expected him to do that. Then, after taking the presidency, he gave this thing about like, oh, the generals have told me that I should keep more. So he put a surge on in Afghanistan. So, yeah, everyone expected him to pull the soldiers out. He didn't.
Be here? No, sir, you shouldn't be here. Why? They don't like us, sir. And I'll tell you what, I've rarely met a soldier that's over there. They're better than anybody because they can tell you better than anybody what's happening. Rarely do I meet a soldier that says we should be there. It was the worst mistake, the most costly mistake in the history of our country going into the Middle East.
I'm going to be right back.
The right of citizens of the United States to vote.
Good, the commercial breaks are getting longer.
Hello, Mr. Trump. My question is actually about...
Let's find out who this is.
Of 2020. Here again, George Stephanopoulos.
Welcome back to our town meeting with President Trump. The next question comes from Alexander J. Floyd of Dallas, Pennsylvania. He voted for President Trump last time around.
Hello, Mr. Trump. My question...
Hello, Mr. Trump. I'm a white guy.
...is actually about police reform.
He is. Well, we saw that already. I was cheating. But yeah, both times it's been white guys. Trump.
And how can we balance common sense police reform without sacrificing public safety in a time when, you know, part of the country is calling to defund the police and actively cheering when they're gunned down in the street, and another part is tired of seeing the lawlessness?
So there were 5 people cheering when those cops were gunned down. But yeah, anybody who's cheering when the police, when anybody's shot. All lives matter. That's what I'm saying. All of it's bad. But why even ask Trump a question about that? Because Trump's not going to have a sensical answer of any kind.
So we have a great senator named Tim Scott from South Carolina, and he had a plan that was very much of a compromise plan, but it was a plan that everybody pretty much agreed to. A lot of Democrats agreed to it, but they wouldn't.
No, because it didn't include qualified immunity, which basically exempts cops from being prosecuted for crime, unless there's an exact same crime in the exact same jurisdiction.
Vote for it, and it was it was a compromise of a lot of different factors.
It wasn't.
And it didn't get done, and it should have gotten done, and it could still be out there, it could still be resurrected very easily, but they just didn't want to do it. Because I think the Democrats are viewing this as a political issue. And
thanks for watching Plagued by Society. You can watch the replay tomorrow, but don't. Just get some sleep.
And I probably...
Why are you guys here? Go to bed.
I agree with them. I think it's very bad for them because we're about...
But I appreciate you being here.
Law and order. We have to be about law and order. Otherwise, you're going to see your cities burn. And that's the way it is. If we can do a plan like Tim Scott's plan, which is really... it goes far enough, but it doesn't take the dignity away from our police. We have incredible people. They've been protecting us for a long time. I mean, we're here, and I feel very safe being in this room. These are great people. We can't take their dignity away. We have to let them be able to do what they do better than anybody else. So I think we have to look at it that way. We have to be very, very careful. Police are so afraid today that they do something slightly wrong.
I want to play NHL.
And their pension's gone, their job's gone. Who knows what happens? Their life is ruined. Their wife.
Am I that tired, or did we already go through this? Like this exact, their pensions, or worried about their pensions?
Or their husband will leave. The whole thing, it's a very scary thing to do. And then you look at safety.
Husband's
you look
leaving.
at that horrible human...
Wait, hold on.
Slightly wrong. And their pension's gone, their job's gone. Who knows what happens? Their life is ruined. Their wife or their husband will leave. The whole thing, it's a...
So if they lose their pensions, then their wives or their husbands, then they do not want that wife or husband. In fact, I want you to do this. If you're a police officer or anybody who has a job with a pension, I want you to come home and tell your spouse that you've lost your job. And if they say, well, then I'm leaving you, get rid of them. They don't deserve you. Be like, no, haha, guess what, bitch? I didn't lose my job, but since I know you, you're only here. Now I know you're only here for the pension. I want you out of here. Do you think anyone is staying with anyone else in this country? I'm sure that somebody is staying with somebody for their pension. Just so stupid. So stupid. Like the story that he used to tell about the wife who never respected her husband, but now the stock market's doing well. So the husband, she loves. Darling.
Very scary thing to do. And then you look at safety. I mean, you look at that horrible human being that shot these two police, cold blank right next, just a disgusting, and then ran off. You look at that, this is a very tough job, and it's a very unsafe job. It's a very dangerous job.
It is a very dangerous job.
We have to give them back their dignity, and we have to give them back respect. These are great people, for the most part. There's always going to be a bad apple in your business, and my business, no matter what. I mean, there's going to be bad apples, so we have to weed out the bad apples.
Well, the difference being, of course, that in George's business, bad reporters don't kill people.
But we have to give the police back that strength that they had a short while ago, and that they have in Republican cities, frankly.
So that's how you do the police reform? By giving the police more strength. Got it. That's what's in Tim Scott's bill.
And states. But you take a look. This is a Democrat problem, George. I know you're a Democrat, but this is largely a Democrat problem. If you just take a look at the list, every Democrat city, almost, not all, but a lot of them, certainly in...
That's where the cops are killing people. That makes sense. We need to give the cops more strength because they're killing people in Democrat cities.
The top 25, even if you go the...
Yeah, we'll probably do a live stream tomorrow.
Top 50.
Yeah, that's right. This is a multi-day live stream. We're never going to get to the end of this anyway.
Almost every...
This is the third time he's talked about Democrat cities, top 10, top 50.
Every city is run by the Democrats. People don't respect our
Mr.
police,
President,
and they have to respect
You
them.
promised 4 years ago at the Republican convention, I'm going to restore law and order
And
in
I
this
have,
country.
except in Democrat-run cities. Look, we have laws. We have to go by the laws. We can't move in the...
He didn't say only I can. What was the phrase? God, I can't believe it is late. We should stop. Only I can save you. Only I can fix it. Only I can. What the hell did he say at the convention? Anyway.
National Guard. I can call insurrection, but there's no reason to ever do that, even in a Portland case. We can't call in the National
Really? Because you've said many times that you were going to do it in Seattle.
Guard unless we're requested by a governor. If a governor or a mayor is a Democrat, and then, like in Portland, we call them constantly. I just spoke to the governor yesterday because we're giving them relief on the fires. We're giving them an emergency declaration. I said, Governor, let us go in and we'll clean up Portland so fast. In a half an hour, it'll be all right. And she's just torn by it. I don't understand the thinking, but they're torn by it. I have a lot of respect for the governor. Frankly, in what happened in Minneapolis was pretty amazing. Unfortunately, this went on for a week or a week and a half before he allowed it.
It was 2.5 days. 2.5 days, and he called, Tim Walz called it, the governor called in the National Guard.
Us to bring in the National Guard. When we brought in the National Guard, everyone torn by it. I have a lot of respect for the governor. Frankly, in what happened in Minneapolis was pretty amazing. Unfortunately, this went on for a week or a week and a half before he allowed us to bring in the National Guard. When we brought in the National Guard, everything stopped. The crime was gone, meaning the whole thing. But by that time, a big portion of the city was burned down. You're talking about Minneapolis. In Seattle, we let them know we're coming in. They took over a big chunk of the city. 20% of the city. We said, we're coming in. As soon as we said that, the police department went in, and these other people were exhausted. But had we not said we're going in, we were ready to go in. We were going in the following morning.
Thank you. I alone can fix it. That's what he said. I alone can fix it, except in the Democratic cities. I remember it like it was yesterday. Thanks again for helping on that. At random, go to bed. It's late. It's 12:30. We got to wrap up. Where are we at here? We are at 1:11. There's probably there's a long break immediately. Let's go to the break and then we're going to wrap it up for today.
Wherever you have a Democrat.
Good night, Danielle. Thank you.
Not in all cases, but if you look at the really troubled.
Wherever you have a Democrat city, not in all cases.
Cities in our country, they're Democrat run, and that's Biden. They're weak. They're in.
Biden literally is not running a city in the country.
President, you're president for those cities right now.
I'm president, but I can only do what I'm allowed to do, George. I don't need insurrection. I don't need an insurrection act to take care of 250 anarchists. We can do that very easily with the National Guard. We proved that in Minneapolis. They came in after the city was burning. And the thing I don't really get is that the
Happy birthday, Danielle.
news media is saying, no, these are peaceful, these are peaceful. And right over the reporter was a CNN reporter.
No, it was an MSNBC reporter.
Right over his shoulder, and you saw that, right over his shoulder, the city is burning. It looked like it was Berlin during the war. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. He's trying to say, I don't know why the news media tries to make so light of it. These are not protests. These are far greater than protests.
Got to take another quick break.
And we got to take a several-hour break so we can go to sleep. Guys, it's been great. Thanks for sticking around with me. Again, I apologize. Actually, this is the first time I've apologized. No, I think I apologized before. Have I told you? I can't even. I can't. Oh, my brain's done. I hit the wall, kids. So good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow or later or something. It's been a blast. You've been watching the live stream. Go KevinLeeFather.com. You know what I say.
Where are you going? Is this helpful to Joe Biden?
Wait, what? Last.
Where are you going?